in Group A. It's Scotland's fourth match. They have won 3 out of 3 so far. Georgia hoping to end that winning run and of course to extend their wonderful run that they have enjoyed. We're about to start with the Georgian national anthem. Georgian fans off to our left, of course, in the main. This stadium is packed with Scotland fans who will be joining in with Flower of Scotland. The national anthems have been sung, the preliminaries are all but done and dusted, and in just the next couple of minutes we'll be able to settle back and enjoy full live commentary of this vital Euro 2024 qualifier. It has been one of the longest seasons in living memory. It finally concludes in a few hours here on the south side of Glasgow, and let's hope it does so in a positive sense for the national team. Much more to come from Leanne Crichton, Craig Levine and Tom English. Right now, full live commentary here on Sportsound and BBC Radio Scotland. Scotland against Georgia with Stephen Thompson, Willie Miller and Liam McLeod.
The 20th of June, a date which has twice seen Scotland exit a major tournament. In 1990 in the shadow of the Alps as they were beaten 1-0 by Brazil at the World Cup finals in Turin. More recently, 2 years ago in fact, they were well beaten by Croatia here as they went out of Euro 2020 without a victory. Most of that team remains and already highly likely to make next summer's Euros in Germany. It's not me that's saying that. There are many former pros who think that they're already on their way to the finals. If they win an historic fourth successive match at the start of this qualifying group, it would almost be harder not to get there, to be fair. Almost. There is no other national team in European football, though, that has had Scotland clattering back down to earth than the pan-continental Georgians, and they will be looking to upset the Scots again this evening. Now, before we get underway, a minute's applause in memory of the Scotland legend Gordon McQueen, who we sadly lost last week. From the Scotland supporters for Gordon McQueen, one of the proper legends of the national team of the past. Well, an absolute deluge of rain has soaked that pitch down there. With every footstep from the players, a splash of water accompanies it, so that's going to be difficult for them. It will be the Scots who get underway. They're going to shoot from left to right towards the east end of the stadium in their all navy blue. Georgia, all in white with red flashes, will shoot towards Mount Florida. Gunning goal for the Scots: Porteous, Henry, Tierney, Hickey and Robertson, McGregor, Gilmer, McTominay, McGinn and Dykes, and we are underway here on a dull Dreich night on Glasgow's south side. Long ping ball out to Robertson, to McGregor, back to Tierney. Can already see the ball sticking though in the soggy surface as it's chipped down that left hand side. Georgia have put it out for a throw-in for the Scots, who look like they are wanting to get off to a quick start here. Throw-in level with the penalty spot. McGregor for Tierney, in looking to try and get it back towards Callum McGregor at the angle of the box. Georgia emerge with it though, and it's Kakabadze who gets it away down that right hand side into the Scotland half, where it's touched back the goalkeeper Gunn. It sticks in the turf. Porteous' back pass and Gunn clears. This is going to be seriously problematic. Long ball, big switch. Robertson out to McGinn on this near side. John McGinn steps away from Kvaratskhelia and then looks up left foot, dink to the edge of the area for Dykes. Gets a little touch onto it, but it's swept to safety by Georgia down that far side.
I don't know about you, Willie, but for me it's borderline this.
It is borderline, absolutely. I think the good news is, Stephen, it looks as though it's easing a bit in terms of the rain coming down, but you know, there's water, surface water everywhere. The ball is undoubtedly been held up. That pass back, you know, from Porteous to Gunn get held up as well.
Every pass that's on the ground is getting held up. Every single pass. Need to be so careful.
And this could be farcical. I'm hearing in other areas at Glasgow it is absolutely teeming it down again. As Robertson looks down the left-hand side, looking to get Tierney away, and he's managed to do that. The weather helps him. It's kept it in play, level with the Georgian 6-yard line as it's passed back to McGregor. Sticks in the turf again. Robertson gets there. Into the box it comes towards Dykes. Is in the D's at the edge of the penalty area. Headed half away. Breaks Hickey's way on this near side. Hickey short ball to Porteous. He gets stuck under his feet. The conditions didn't help. Kvaratskhelia in possession down on this near side. He's fouled by Aaron Hickey, and that's going to be a free kick to Georgia. I don't know what they do in this scenario.
Well, they should have been testing it actually. The match officials should have been out earlier and actually testing it, and maybe even, you know, looking at a little bit of delay in the kick-off or trying to get some of that surface water off. At this moment in time, it's not looking great. It's really dangerous. It could be really dangerous out there for players as well.
Free kick for Georgia, which is pumped forward down from the left-hand side. But Valley, the defensive midfielder, but it breaks John McGinn's way left of the centre circle along the deck, out to Robertson on that left-hand touchline. Long ball forward. Dykes trying to win it. He's battling with Callum McGregor to win it back, and they've done that. McGregor now for McTominay. McTominay, little ball, looking to try and tee it up for McGinn. Georgia are able to get it clear, and down this left-hand side they're going to try and get in. Porteous has gone down. It is a free kick. Says the Hungarian referee this evening, who is Istvan Vad, and that's going to be a free kick for the Scots just inside the Georgia half. 3 goalless minutes in here at Hampden. We can only hope that the rain doesn't come back on, because that pitch is sodden. It's going to be passed forward up towards Mctominay. He's just run about the halfway line. Scotland win it back. Hickey has it on the right, and now it's Gilmore passing it forward to Hickey, wonderful skill, shuffles away from 3, and then the ball just sticks in the turf again. Kvaratskhelia on it now, and down this near side, Georgia have it with Mctominay. Little ball forward into the Scotland half, and Jack Hendry's to be careful as he just rolls it away. He was under a little bit of pressure there from Kitishvili. Long ball forward, McGinn flicks on into the central area where it is collected by Kvaratskhelia. Long ball down onto the chest of Mctominay, rolls it infield. Chance here for the Georgians with Kitishvili to the right hand side of the penalty area. Scotland under pressure. Here's a shot towards the far corner, and it sticks in the turf just before it rolls over the byline there. Well, again, it's another farcical situation as Lobjanidze hit it. He was just outside the box, and it just goes past the post.
They're not happy, Liam. They're not happy down there. Both managers are not happy about it. They're giving the old signal that the surface is not playable.
Yeah, Willie Sagnol wants the game stopped, the Georgian coach.
Both do.
Yeah. The two managers are in conversation down there with the fourth official, Chris Woods, the Scotland goalkeeper coach there too.
What are the options though? You've got 50,000 people inside the stadium.
You've got to try and just, I don't know,
you're not getting rid of that rain that's on the pitch, I don't think.
Dykes knocks it out for a throw-in on this near side though, level with the Georgian 6-yard line as we approach 5 minutes.
It's a decent opportunity that actually from Georgia just a few minutes ago. We're talking about the rain, but actually the shot was probably only about a foot or 2 feet past the post in their first kind of real attack.
It was a good effort actually from Lobjanidze. Just getting stuck in the turf there just made it a little bit more nerve-wracking. Ryan Porteous will take this throw. Short to Hickey and back to Porteous. Looking to win a corner, and he's done that. He knocks it up.
I feel as though Hickey should have received the ball in the half turn and put it in himself. Really, I don't know about you. Then he plays it back out to Porteous. We have won the corner from it, but he received the ball in a lot of space and time.
He had enough time to do that. You know, actually get himself turned and put the cross in, because he had plenty of space, plenty of room to do it. And I think Porteous was a little bit surprised when he played it back to him.
Winning off Kvaratskhelia as McGinn takes the corner, left footed into the box, comes off Dykes, breaks back to McGregor. The dream start to Group A continues. Callum McGregor, the fabulous strike which the keeper couldn't keep out. The Hampden roar, the roar of expectation, of elation, of exhilaration, yet again in this wonderful, wonderful campaign. Scotland 1, Georgia 0. Euro 2024 is there for the taking.
Comes from the corner kick. The ball in from John McGinn's not particularly good. Georgia don't really deal with it all that well. When it breaks just around about the penalty spot, Callum McGregor's fussed onto it on his weaker foot, and the goalkeeper actually gets a decent hand to it, but the power on the shot takes it away from him into the corner. Perfect start.
Yeah, absolutely. Come through a lot of bodies as well. I think the goalkeeper sees it really late, but Callum McGregor is sharp onto it as it isn't cleared properly. I think it's Lyndon Dykes that gets the header, but he heads it, you know, back the park as well. But McGregor's onto it like a flash. They're not happy down there.
Now that they're 1-0 down, they're trying to get the game cancelled.
Well, they're checking the goal as well. There's a goal check for something in the build-up. I'm not sure what it was, but the referee's coming over to have a look at it on the monitor himself. Not sure what has been spotted by the VAR.
No, I think he's chancing an official about the weather.
Yep.
Well, there was an official VAR goal check.
He's not at the screen though, is he?
Up there.
No, he's not checking it. He's having a conversation about the conditions. Although, you know, I would say he's culpable because he should have been out earlier checking the surface. The surface was very poor before the game started. The managers are not happy with the surface as well, and the referee is now not
but
happy.
Now that we're 1-0 up, Willie, we do not want this game postponed. And you can see the Georgian players, like, up until that stage, none of the players were really moaning about it. It was mostly the management teams from both sides out in the technical areas talking about the conditions. Since the goal's gone in, Georgia are over with their coach saying, let's get this game binned, which we don't want now that we're 1-0 up, obviously.
Well, Willie Sagnol's over talking to Scott McTominay. Callum McGregor there, that's his third international goal. I mentioned the game against Croatia here bang on 2 years ago at the Euros when he scored his first international goal. The only man to score at a major finals.
He's pulling the captains
since 98, Well, the Tartan Army celebrate the goal again, but the two captains, Andy Robertson and Guram Kassia, are being spoken to. Is there going to be a 10-15 minute stoppage in play here while they try and make the pitch more playable. How on earth do you do that? Such a huge surface.
And the rain is still coming down. It's not nothing like it was, say, an hour ago, but it's still coming down. Don't know how you're going to get this pitch playable to the extent that they want it. I think you've just got to go on with it at this stage.
The ref's still in conversation with the two skippers down below us. We played 9 minutes. It's an early goal, and it's a fabulous moment for Callum McGregor. And again, they scored early in a home match in this campaign. Early against Cyprus through John McGinn, early against Spain through Scott McTominay, early against Georgia through Callum McGregor. Don't know if we can maybe bring the other guys in. Craig Levine and Leanne Crichton are to my left. I will bring them in every now and again throughout the two halves. Craig, Scotland 1-0 up. What are you making of the current scenes?
I think it's a bit of a farce, to be honest. I mean, the game started, I didn't see any of the officials coming out and checking the surface at all. We were talking about, even in the warm-up, you could see the players splashing every time they put their foot down, and it was still raining heavily, and yet the referee never even paid any attention.
Yeah, they're going off. Players are going off. Steve Clark's telling everyone to calm down. How long this stoppage will be, we don't know. There are 10 minutes officially on the clock here at Hampden. Callum McGregor, just before that stoppage, had put Scotland 1-0 up as they look to make it 4 wins from 4 in Group A, and suddenly the referee's being swarmed by Georgians down there, players and staff trying to get in his ear. Andy Robertson's having a word with Steve Clark down there below us as well. But the bottom line is that this game has been temporarily stopped here, and the officials are all on to have a go at the pitch again. They're going to need more than the 5 or 6 you're out there just now.
Okay, 5 squeegees to clean a whole pitch of water. There's no chance. You need the fire brigade.
I'm not sure how on earth they're going to manage that, but anyway, I'll hand back to Richard for this stoppage. Hopefully we'll get some idea as to how long that stoppage is going to be, but I'll leave it to Richard to talk you through that with the guys. But signing off after the first official 11 minutes that have been played on the clock. It is Scotland 1, Georgia 0, thanks to that goal scored by Callum McGregor. Richard.
Yeah, it was kind of frustrating that the referee waited until the moment that Callum McGregor actually put Scotland in front, and then it came across. I mean, it was clearly the pitch was just utterly unplayable, and it was so dangerous. There was a moment just not long before Scotland scored with the ball stuck up in the surface, and for a moment or two we wondered if it was actually going to go in as Georgia looked to put some pressure on. But the players have been finding it so difficult trying to construct anything at all. We did win that corner. It was knocked out, and then Callum McGregor stroked it home from about 14 yards. Right now there are half a dozen of the ground staff out in the goal mouth to our right, and they're doing what they were doing beforehand with the big squeegees and pushing as much water off the pitch as possible. The problem is that's about a 50th of the pitch itself.
Richard, there'll be somebody who can do some sort of mathematical equation here and tell us how long it's going to take 6 people to clear the water.
It won't be me, because I failed my standard grade maths.
Put it this way, Craig, they won't be finished tonight.
No.
I mean, there's just no way. So now
they can give it a go, but I've squeegeed a few changing rooms with equipment like that. And by the way, it takes you some amount of time.
Correct.
Right, we're just now someone from the, I assume from the Hampden Park administrative staff in a suit and what will now be very damp brown shoes. We're just about hearing the announcement now. You can hear the announcement has been made. I didn't quite catch what they said.
20 minutes.
20-minute assessment.
Right, a 20-minute assessment. Well, what we have to hope first and foremost is that there is no more heavy rain. It is still raining. It's not heavy, it is spitting over on the far side there. At least it's very light drizzle. They've got a few more squeegees. We are up to 8
now. Squeegee brigade up to 8. I'd say about another 80 or 90 and we could be all right.
Not that I like to micromanage things, guys, but that's not the way I would be squeegeeing it. I would be down I would have them in a straight line, giving it a go for 1 half out to one side. You know, they're all doing it in dribs and drabs, so I've not got much hope for it, to be honest.
Need to get
Steve 9 squeegees, there's another one coming on.
There's number 9. You need to get Steve Clark out. There's no shape to the squeegees here. I don't know what formation they're playing. They're all over the place.
I'm sure there's a fair amount of people in amongst this 50,000 that would be happy to go and give them a hand as well.
Well, the thing is, think about the travel. Lots of people come to these Scotland games from all over the country, and this is the last thing in the world that they want to happen.
But again, another announcement is being booed roundly, of course. They had, well, the clock showed 10 minutes when they went off, but they'd only played. I mean, the goal was scored in the 6th minute. They'd only played, I think, 7 minutes of football, and the decision was taken that was it. There are some bits there where actually the guys in the squeeze,
no water
across the pitch, there's no water. Yeah, so some bits seem to have dried. Look, I mean, we're watching there. There are areas, but it's just not enough.
Some squeegees are better than other squeegees.
Well,
that's true. We're up to 9 now. Was it 8 last time? We're up to 9 now.
Yeah, I mean, they're making their way alongside. So we're in the main stand, we're looking down. So basically they've come from the goal mouth, they're making their way up past the technical areas. It's maybe about a quarter of the width of the pitch that they're doing, and they've got about halfway up. There's still an awful lot of work to be done there. And it was torrential. It was absolutely torrential. All that is going to take is for there to be one more heavy shower at that kind of level, and that's it. The pitch is done. They then have to decide whether they just leave it and try to get the game played in the autumn, or whether potentially they look to get it played tomorrow, because that's still part of the international break. More of the squeegees are coming up into what was the half that Scotland were defending, and still they are working manfully and womanfully to get as much water off the pitch as they possibly can. So it was going to be a late night anyway. It's going to be an even later night if we do reach the point where we're back playing football again. Incredible when you think of how Scotland has baked in the heat for the past week and a half. I know there were some rainstorms here in Glasgow, some pretty torrential ones towards the end of last week. Even earlier today, it was absolutely gorgeous. But we have had, a monsoon. It was the kind of rain that you get generally when you're away on holiday. I don't know, somewhere in the Mediterranean, somewhere sunny, where you get these 20-minute downpours and then it clears up and it's all bright and everything's dry. That's the bit we're missing because we haven't had that heat wave that has then dried the surface. Still work is going on. But the good news is it's a drizzle. It's nothing more than that right now. So the hope is clearly that they can do enough work on this to get it clear. They've reached the other goal mouth. Now, I have to say, that goal mouth, and that was the one that Angus Gunn was defending, and got a little scare earlier when one cross ball just suddenly stuck in the surface just at his right-hand post. It seems to me they've been doing most work at the other goal mouth, so they're now currently trying to get that sorted out. So that work will continue. We'll keep an eye on that and see if they can find any more resources. Just in terms of the players, Stephen, this is a big issue for the players, isn't it? They've done their warm-up, they've gone back inside because that was cut short, they've come out, they played for 6 or 7 minutes, now they're back inside again.
Yeah, it's not ideal, the uncertainty, and when they do come out after the 20 minutes and the decision's made, if they have to start again, then they'll have to kind of get themselves ready again. There is a inside warm-up room in Hampden. I would imagine it would make a wee bit of sense to have the players go into that. It's like a big gym hall, if you like, with AstroTurf in it, and just keep the mobility going whilst this wait happens. I mean, for me, it was farcical and it was borderline unplayable, yes. But I'm with Willie and with Craig in the point that I didn't see the test that you always see is the ref throw the ball into the air, and if it doesn't bounce, usually they're kind of, and we've seen it loads in Scottish football over the years. There was none of that. He just cracked on with the game, and actually before the game there wasn't a lot of players popping the ball about either, getting a feel for it in the conditions, so we just kind of started blind, and clearly that was not the right decision. What irked me ever so slightly was that the kind of protestations came mostly once we had scored. Neither of the two sets of players, they were just mucking in. Both managers were kind of saying, right, this isn't ideal.
The thing is though, Tom, we'll see if this is a game that costs you a position to go and qualify for a major tournament. So without a doubt, if it was the other way about and it was Scotland that were 1-0 down now, we'd absolutely be saying just call this game, because if you're not going to be able to play your best football and it's potentially going to cost you tournament football, it's absolutely not worth the risk. And that's the way Georgia... No, I know, for us, of course, let's go ahead, let's play in, what is it, 70 minutes or something before the result actually stands. But
I think the other thing that always comes into consideration... That's the thing I was going to say. The player's safety. The player's safety is always going to outweigh any of the other decisions that come into play. And I think that's when it falls on the referee's shoulders. He'll probably be liaising with people higher above than him, I would imagine, from the refereeing world, discussing what the next move should be.
Well, there's no doubt he will be taking guidance, but first and foremost, they'll be desperately hoping that they can get this pitch into something approaching a more playable state. The only kind of good news for some, my son was texting that there's still loads of fans were outside. They weren't getting inside. Plenty of fans missed the opening goal. They've been stuck outside in the pouring rain. Some way back from the turnstiles as they attempted to make their way inside. So it has at least given those fans the opportunity to get inside, albeit as things stand they have missed the opening goal in the game. I mean, you can be guaranteed, Tom, that one thing the referee was desperately hoping was that neither side would score during that little spell. It's a lot easier for him to make a decision if it is still sitting at 0-0.
The whole, absolutely, and the whole drama of it was that a minute or so before Scotland scored, Steve Clarke and Willie Sagnolo were both gesturing, you know, like crossing their arms, as in call it off or delay it. And next thing the goal is, and goal is scored. I'm not sure what Steve Clarke's position is right now, but it is high drama. It's a 20-minute delay. The squeegees, what's the rain doing? Is it still raining? It's very light.
Yeah,
it's very light.
Yeah.
It's very light. I've never seen this kind of situation before.
Well, I mean,
get someone down there, get our reporter down here into the Scotland dressing room, get a few interviews.
You would hope though that the referee would come out and test the pitch, you know, before he restarts it again. Surely he's got to have some kind of a indication whether the ball's going to roll properly or whether it's going to get held up in the water, which he didn't do before the kick-off, which, you know, I think from an officiating point of view was really poor.
Even for the stadium point of view, Willie, it's a strange one, because they've got the measurements that get around the pitch, that they know exactly what the waterfall has been throughout a week. They monitor it consistently. That's why they decide how much water they put on the pitch before they sprinkle it and whatnot. So why that wasn't taken into consideration is crazy before the teams came out.
The last time Scotland played a game that was abandoned was in September 2004. James McFadden scored in an away game against Spain. I remember it was like this. It just became ridiculous. It became farcical. Tom, when you were playing?
No, I was an unused sub as per usual. But I was there enjoying the ambience. But I remember it well.
Okay, you remember it so well you forgot to let us know that this has happened previously for Scotland.
Well, I was halfway through a sandwich.
Right, good. I'm glad you had time to have a sandwich. That's been one of the main benefits of the postponement or the abandonment so far. I think there's more and more work going on. I've got to say, the squeegees, there's less water being brought up by the squeegees in some parts of the pitch where they've been working hard. But I mean, it's...
Richard, can I just butt in? See the young chap just below us there. He's used that. What was it you call the thing that he's using?
Squeegee.
The squeegee.
A squeegee, yeah.
He's used that squeegee in that same spot 4 times now, and there's still water coming up. The same area.
Right.
So I don't know, you know, if it is getting cleared or not. The only way, really, to find out is to get it tested, to get the ball out and get the ball moving and see if it is making a difference to the surface.
I think one by one we're all realising what they're playing over the PA system at the moment. Travis.
Absolutely brilliant.
You can always rely on Scottish people for a bit of humour,
Absolutely love it. Fair play to them. they're actually enjoying it. That's superb.
I'm not so sure that the fans will be enjoying it.
Well, the guy right behind you is stripped off to his waist, Richard.
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing to do. Let's just make it clear, it's nothing to do with me. He's happens to be.
It was.
Well, just the fact you're associating me with him.
Because he's right behind you.
He's getting a selfie with Neil McCann.
It's quite a scene. There's a bit of a sing-along here.
I mean, people who
Wimbledon. It's like Wimbledon when it used to rain there, when the roof wasn't there. Everyone having a right old sing-song.
Willie, the guy Willie mentioned, who's been in the same area 4 times, he's just gone back for a 5th time, and again he's still taking large amounts of water off that. This is not. I mean, it's.
I think we'll get back on. I do. I think it's improved. I think it's improved.
I think the overhead has improved, but I mean, they can't have moved more than about 10% of the water.
No, but I just think with the kind of rain going off and actually allowing it to soak into the pitch as well, then I think we're going to get back.
I'm not convinced.
No,
I don't think so.
Sorry, you do want a future in.
No, I had a future.
Can we ring up Julian Ralston?
Listen, maybe somebody produces a football in a second and we'll know exactly how the pitch is looking. Because it might look better than it did a minute ago, but I still don't think it's football ready.
That is the only way that we're going to find
I know, Willie.
Playable. Get the ball out.
I wish a few would drop the squeegees now and just get a game of longies and we'll see how it's playing.
Well, that's about 15 minutes now since 15 minutes now since the players were gathered by the referee. 1 or 2 of the Georgia players are down there right at the end of the tunnel. They're watching on to see how things are proceeding. They've just appeared with more squeegees, and they've got the young kids who, I think it's the kids who were holding down the flags. Those are actually brushes. Brushes with a big heads, and they're going to be, oh my goodness. I mean, actually, that's A, it doesn't look like they're going to work, and
they're not sliding. They're getting stuck in the grass.
And it's a bit.
It's an equipment malfunction.
I'm sorry, that's farcical. You've got 6 young kids with brushes and making absolutely. This reminds me of Aberdeen down at Firhill, Partick Thistle. Back about 91-92, Aberdeen were 2-0 up at half-time. There was a blizzard. John Lambie sent one guy out with a brush, which was about a third of the size of those ones, to start clearing one of the lines.
That's my story, Richard.
All right.
I was manager at the time, by the way.
Well, you remember it well, Willie?
Yeah. And
so
I think we took 7 off them in the replay.
The game went ahead a week later, or whenever it was, and Aberdeen won 7-0.
But it was one brush. Sent this young guy out with a brush to clear the lines. He went onto the halfway line, and the head fell off the brush.
so it's not quite at those kind of farcical levels, but it's not far short.
Richard, I'll tell you what's interesting. If the game does restart, you want to be playing down this side and in the penalty boxes.
Yes, because
those are the only bits that are getting water removed from them.
Here comes the referee, and at least one of his assistants. He doesn't have a ball.
No,
he doesn't have a
ball. Richard, it's incredible.
I mean, he's out to wander around in the pitch. Walking did nothing in terms of bringing up the puddles. He needs to be running around, which was giving an indication as to how the players were able to. And surely he needs a ball to see if the ball is actually able to move on the surface. Right, he's made his way out onto the pitch. He's heading across to the goal mouth off to our right, where there has been a lot of work done. But they've got the squeegees there. They're still moving copious amounts of water out of the 18-yard area and into the net.
It's hard to fathom that, because you think of how much work they've done in the goal mouth and how much water we've seen come out the goal mouth. How are they still managing to find water there?
They've got these kids who were actually busting a gut, blowing a gasket to try and shift water with their sweeping brushes.
I know.
And whenever they do eventually get the little bit of water to the touchline, they get a massive roar from the crowd for their achievement. But there must be. The referee, he's out there with no ball.
No.
It's incredible.
It's István Bad, the Hungarian. He and an assistant have been down to the goal mouth to our right. They've walked back up to the centre circle, and now in conversation,
it's all over. They
are heading back across the pitch. They are still mic'd up, so they're relaying information back.
It says
inside.
match suspended on the screen.
That might just be is that the 20-minute suspension?
That will have been the initial. So it'll be postponed, is the word we're looking out for, I think. They'll be desperate. There are all sorts of hand signals going down as people go across to talk to some of the unused. The Scotland subs are down there, hovering at the end of the tunnel. Everyone just waiting. Some of the fans are gesturing down to the players. They're gesturing back up to make it clear they've got no idea yet. The referee now making his way back deep into the bowels of Hampden, into the tunnel area, presumably back to his room. And you would imagine that his decision is about to be relayed, first and foremost, to the two managers. The authorities, of course, the police, the stewards, everyone who's involved in stewarding the stadium, they will be have to be informed as well, because if this game is postponed, then they've got a big operation to put into place.
Well, you've got public transport after the game, people catching trains that are now 20 minutes later than they were planning to catch trains.
Even with the weather, Tom, I'd be surprised if that's all impacted anyway. It's going to be carnage after the game.
As we could end up spending the night here.
We'll get a squidgy or two then and we'll get at it.
We could have
we'll get the game on tomorrow, no doubt about it.
Still no ball on the pitch.
No. And if you take the 6-yard box, Richard, in isolation, as Tomo mentioned, the amount of water, they're still digging water out of the 6-yard box, and they've been at that for some time now.
Yeah, is that Steve Clark's just warmed it out? Austin, is that Austin McPhee's down there?
It's just his hair's wet, he looks a bit different.
He's down there. Liam, you've picked up something?
Yeah, just to give a bit of clarity to the situation here. So the end of the 20-minute break, which must be coming up about now, the referee has done his pitch check to determine if the game is on. There will be a 10-minute warm-up after that. If the game restarts, it will be starting at 6 minutes with the Scots leading 1-0. If the ref deems it unplayable, there will be another conversation. Now, generally, what happens with UEFA matches these days, you were talking about that game at Firhill Cup tie 30 years ago. Generally what happens is they restart the match at a later date, generally the next day from the time the match was suspended. So that's what we're looking at.
Right, well, if that is the case, then obviously the goal stands, and the minute elapsed will have done so, and see you tomorrow. That'll be interesting. Right then. Steve.
Sorry, go on. No, I'm just laughing at the absolute surreal nature of the hottest weather we've had in years and years, and the game is postponed because of rain.
And you can guarantee that a vast majority of those football players out there will have flights booked tomorrow to go on their holidays.
Yeah. Sure, they can afford to reschedule them.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Planes might be full, Tenglish.
They'll take a little private. It's fine.
Right, well, we're waiting now. From what Liam's been told there from downstairs, we're now expecting, unless the referee decides that's it, it's off, then the players will be coming back out. There are 10 minutes to warm up. The game will resume, and then the referee will have to just assess exactly what is happening. You're listening to Sports, and we're somewhat delayed. The game has been delayed now by about 23 minutes. Scotland scoring early to lead 1-0 against Georgia.
Scotland in the Euro 2024 qualifiers.
Live on Sports Sound.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute. This summer you could holiday in the Highlands.
It's very much a spiritual successor to Snakes on a Plane. It's called Midges in a Motor.
Head to the coast.
Over 3,000 watt have been found in Dalgety Bay. Esther.
Motorhomes.
Or enjoy a city break.
If I wanted to be around Americans all day, guess where I'd be? Yeah, Edinburgh, right?
For more summer holiday ideas, listen to the new series of Scotland's Topical Panel Show with me, Des Clark. Breaking the News begins Friday at 1:30 on BBC Radio Scotland and Sounds.
You're listening to Sports Sound live here on BBC Radio Scotland. You're not listening to commentary from Scotland against Georgia, because Scotland, having taken the lead in the 6th minutes on what was patently in the opening stages an unplayable pitch after torrential rain, a monsoon which enveloped the stadium in the hour or so before kick-off. The referee belatedly decided to pull the players off the pitch. He said at that point there would be a 20-minute delay to allow the ground staff to try to clear things. It's now been 25 minutes since they went out. We've got an update which has been released at 20:35, so that is in 15 minutes time. Another pitch inspection in 15 minutes time. If all is good, they will restart then after a 10-minute warm-up. So it's down to whether it passes a pitch inspection in 15 minutes. So basically they've now got another 15 minutes for the guys with the squeegees and the kids with the brushes to try to improve it. I can't see any rain at all now. It was drizzling. You could see it in the floodlights. I can't see anything at all now. So at least there is nothing being added in terms of the surface water.
Can I make a point here? The referee comes back out. He must bring a ball out with him. Yeah. And if he goes over to that far side and throws the ball up in the air, it's not going to bounce, because there's not been one person across there removing water. I can't see any way this can go ahead.
Sorry, what would be so hard about someone running on with a ball and kicking it about the place? What's so difficult about that? Because then, if the referee does that and he thinks, you know what, it hasn't improved, there's no point in having a warm-up, because the game's not going ahead.
Well, that is the age-old test that we've all seen hundreds of times, thousands of times over the years. A ball has not been on that pitch since players were taken off it.
It hasn't, yeah.
Look, I mean, I'm looking down to the right. I know they've been out there, they've been working hard, but 3 of the guys with the squeegees are standing having a chat now. They're not even actually doing anything to the pitch. It's almost as if they've decided it's completely pointless.
And there's some stewards, I think, in that far side now that are going to join the party with some brushes, but Craig's right, they've barely touched that. And the side that we're looking at, there's young boys just walking across the
splashing across the pitch.
But it's almost the group in the far side. It is almost as if they have been listening in, because they are now trying to get Leanne's line set up so they can do it. The announcement now that there will be another inspection in 10 minutes. Well, it's about 13 minutes.
So that was an inspection when the referee walked on the park with his assistant. Was it?
Yeah. Effectively.
He didn't do anything.
Yeah. No, he walked around, he had a look, and off he went. But, well, at least it is. Well, there was a brighter spell there, but we can't quite see off to my left, round the corner there. Kind of feels that those might be darker clouds that are making their way back along, or making their way along into this area.
Still a lot of water coming up from these squeegees. A lot of water.
The suggestion is that if they cannot continue the game this afternoon, or this evening rather, St Mirren Park is the backup stadium, and the suggestion is that the game will go ahead at St Mirren Park tomorrow if it is called off here.
Is it closed doors then?
Good luck getting everybody in.
I mean, this pitch can dry out overnight. That's the problem with.
I'm not quite sure. I know Viaplay, who are broadcasting it, they've put that out, and it's in the documentation as the backup stadium. I can't quite understand why they would move it.
I tell you what, it's only 4 minutes from my house, so I'm right up for that.
And you wouldn't have any great difficulty getting in.
Do you think the St Mirren groundsman needs to be round there right now?
Well, I mean, if there's been rain like there has here tonight in Paisley, then yeah.
Well, I'm getting messages from people around the country saying, I don't know what's going on, it's lovely here.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're in Scotland, not Ireland.
No, I'm talking in Stirling and other places.
Right,
it's grand there. People are watering gardens.
I mean, we were the same up in Aberdeen last week when there were the thunderstorms in and around Glasgow. So Sadly, I don't think there was any thunder and lightning, but my goodness, the rain was absolutely torrential. I mean, you can understand why. I don't think there's any criticism to be levelled in any way, shape or form at those who have prepared the pitch. It was just horrendous for a good 25, 30 minutes, I suppose. And they're working away. They're still trying to get the water off the pitch. We are now, what's that? That's about 10 minutes away from the inspection that is about to be taking place. I'm told Jane Lewis, our reporter, was down pitch side, and her reading of the situation is that the pitch does seem to be drying down there. I can't actually see Jane. She's down there somewhere. But there is a feeling if the pitch, and the suggestion about Cimarron Park, we're also hearing that if they do manage to get the pitch playable, it would go ahead here tomorrow. I mean, what it means in terms of tickets and everything that goes with that, goodness only knows.
Jordan, please.
No. Well, we're not quite at that situation. No. As things stand. It kind of, I mean, I know they're still taking water off the pitch. It just kind of feels that it is better, but I just don't know if that's because we're not actually watching 22 players stomping around in puddles and splashing the water.
That's what we need to see, as Willie's already said about 4 times. We need to see a ball on the pitch moving, and that's the one thing that has to happen.
Well, it's certainly going to be a very late night. If we do get 90 minutes of football here, it's going to be a very late night indeed. Norway, incidentally, are 1-0 up against Cyprus. Liam did show me that about half an hour ago, and in the midst of all this, didn't quite get round to imparting that information. That's the other game in the group, which kicked off at the same time as this one did. I'm assuming it's going along serenely and is probably just about at half-time. When this one resumes, if it does indeed resume this evening, it will do so 6 minutes on the clock, and Scotland 1-0 up thanks to the Callum McGregor goal. It's only a third goal for Callum in 53 international, so he'll certainly be hoping that it stands. And as Liam pointed out earlier, it does tend to be it has been set, the precedent that, as they've been doing things of late, the game will resume from the point where it officially concluded. They're still taking gallons of water out of that 6-yard box to our right. Absolute gallons of it.
That's my only concern, because if it's like that all over the pitch, we've not touched the centre circle. Any of the squeegee guys have been going round the edges and in the goals, so you presume it's to be the same everywhere on the pitch.
It's a lot easier to try to clear the bits that are closer to the touch lines, of course. A ball has appeared. It's not been put there by any kind of officials, but someone is down there. So one of the Georgia backroom staff maybe. And he's been told in no uncertain terms not to go anywhere near the pitch with the ball, so it wants it to be done officially. It's the manager whose that is. They want to make sure it's the officials that do that. So, right, Jane is down there, trackside. I think we can speak to Jane now. How's it looking from down at pitch level then, Jane?
Yeah, a complete hive of activity down here, Richard, as you might expect. Lots of chats going on. We understand the Scotland players are underneath the stadium in that warm-up area, so they are safely in Scotland away there. It looks like they're coming back out. There is that another inspection. We were told at 25 minutes too, but it looks like the referee is certainly coming out to have another little look at the minutes with another official as well. But yeah, we're told that there will be another inspection. If the pitch is playable, there'll be about a 10-15 minute warm-up again for the players when they come back out onto the pitch, and then the game will restart, of course, 6 minutes in, with Scotland leading by 1-0. If it's not deemed playable, then it's either going to be back here tomorrow night or St Mirren Park, which is the nominated backup stadium. It's Simone from the SFFA, who says that the weather forecast is looking good despite the grey clouds above me. The weather forecast is looking promising. The pitch, you're told, is draining, although I'm down here trackside and I'm seeing these boys with the squidgies or whatever they're called, and there's still an awful lot of water that they're putting off the pitch. So yeah, we're just waiting for that secondary pitch inspection, and then we'll find out more, I guess. But yeah, it is a busy place down there. Lots of well, just looks on people's faces of what on earth is going on. No one really quite seems to know. But I think there is a feeling of some positivity.
Right, Jane, I think just losing her there briefly there, but I think some positivity she felt that there was down pitch side. I mean, it's so busy down in the tunnel, end of the tunnel. All the Scotland subs are there. Various administrators, various other staff members, lots of conversations, as Jane was saying, and we await the re-emergence of the referee, which should be within the next 4 to 5 minutes. And then he has just appeared. He's appeared down there between the technical areas. He's chatting with one of the Hampden employees, man in suits, or it could be someone from UEFA Observer perhaps. They're certainly in conversation down there. The referee is just waiting. I mean, some of the implements that are being used, there's one young lad there who's got a tiny brush, who is trying to force as much water as he can off the pitch. It's still, I mean, although as you look down from the stand here, with no one on it, you would see nothing wrong with that pitch. It looks, other than the goal mouth off to our right, where now they've been working so much there, there looks to be kind of damage there. You can see what looks to be lying water there, but the rest of the pitch looks absolutely fine. The problem is that it has been absolutely hammered by the torrential rain which fell. There hadn't been any rain for the past 20 minutes, maybe half an hour, nothing at all, not even the drizzle that was falling earlier. You would have kind of thought that actually it might have drained a bit better than it has. The referee back out onto the pitch, still without football. So just him and his assistant, the same two guys who were out there previously, and they're taking the same route. They're walking diagonally across to the 18-yard box, where still the water.
I tell you, for these guys that are squeegeeing, Richard, I'd be raging, having just spent 35 minutes bursting myself squeegeeing this pitch, if he comes over and says it's not happening. This guy's over there breathing like you wouldn't believe, trying to clear this pitch, sweating.
No, absolutely. They have done what they can. You can see in that goal mouth though, even as the referee and his assistant walk across it, you can see water coming up.
Yeah, you can.
Just as they walk. They're not running, they're not kicking the ball, they're just walking at a leisurely pace. And you could still see there was water there, and there's so much water in that goal mouth. It's remarkable.
How many officials are there? Seriously, many match officials? 5 plus observer, and nobody suggested to the referee in his log, get a ball on that pitch and see if it'll move, see if it'll actually roll, or if it'll hold up, or if it'll bounce. I just cannot believe what I'm seeing. No, Richard, I'm sorry, I can't.
Well, you saw Willie Samuel came out with a ball and was told
to take it off.
Yeah. So they've gone across to the goal mouth to our right. They're now walking across the pitch to the goal mouth to our left. It is now, I mean, that's 45 minutes almost. No, 40 minutes almost since the players left the pitch. And none of us can believe that there was no football been involved in this test. I've got to say that goal mouth looks even to the left, looks even worse than the one to the right in terms of the water that is still coming up as they walk across. I find it hard to believe that they are going to assess this game is going to go ahead. Now the referee has finally asked for a couple of footballs. They've been rolled on, and we'll see. Well, they're trying to bounce them, and the ball just isn't bouncing. I mean, certainly in that area of the pitch, which has been squeegeed significantly, the ball was running a bit better than it had been previously, in terms of there wasn't the big spray of water. Now the referee, he's trying to bounce that ball, and the goal mouth off to our left. It's just not bouncing. It is just not bouncing. It's hitting the surface, and it's dying. It's got to be off.
I think it's Cuttons, Richard.
Cannot see any way that he can reconvene this game. So it's down to, well, we'll wait for the official word, obviously. It is then going to be down to the decision the referee takes and what they're going to do in terms of this match and when. Oh, you look at the tunnel, it's absolutely chock-a-block, not just with the subs now, but with lots of the players who are waiting. They're all down there, the Scotland players. You see them, Lyndon Dykes, Andy Robertson there, all just waiting to see. The word was that they would have this inspection 8:35. If he didn't immediately call it off, the players would then be given a 10-minute warm-up. So the players are all there because the referee's going to say nothing at all to them. He is carrying ball in hand and is making his way back up the tunnel, and the decision will be taken at that point. If it is off, then as far as we understand, the plan would be to play it at the earliest possible opportunity, which of course would be tomorrow night, and ideally back here at Hampden, if indeed the pitch is playable by then. But that is yet to be confirmed, and of course we wait to hear the official verdict from the referee.
Also, Richard, the rain's just come back on.
It has.
Doesn't look too great coming from our left-hand side.
No, it's dark off to our left, and you can see the rain in the floodlights again. So that has surely got to be it as far as this game is concerned.
Richard, this is one of the worst 45 minutes I've ever watched.
You sure about that?
No,
there's been a few bad ones at Hampden, Craig, let's be honest.
Right, there's one official just come back out and he's gesturing across to the ground staff, and it's like he's pointing to certain parts of the pitch and asking them to go
mouths only.
So well, that being the case.
Yeah, it's Bob Park. He's in charge of the stadium operations, Richard.
Yeah, couldn't quite make out who it was from here, but if that being the case, then he wants them to continue working. And he's prepared still to give this game a chance.
There's a leaf blower on the pitch now, in the goal mouth. A leaf blower.
Oh, so there is. Oh my goodness.
Got to try everything.
Well, they are trying everything, but now they're calling all those who have got squeegees and brushes have been called into the 18-yard boxes. All efforts have to be. Now that's obviously come from the referee, who has said, look, I'm not calling it off quite yet. You're going to be given the opportunity. The players are still down there. The referee is currently in conversation with the two managers.
What about the good old-fashioned pitchfork? Is that not used anymore? Just forking the ground, letting the water go into it.
Maybe things have moved on.
They must have. Leaf blowers.
No, it's the old brush upside down. That's the modern way to shift the water.
Right, there are players down there who are desperate. They're being called back in, I see. Yeah, it might just be they've been called back in the dressing room as the conversation continues. But yeah, referee, we're told, talking to the two managers, Steve Clark and Willie Sagnol. And still we await official word from downstairs. It is Viaplay who are covering it on television. I see they're hoping to get some more information. Right, we're now told at 8:45.
No, the bad news is the rain's just, if you look over at the floodlights.
And the game will then restart at 9 o'clock. So 8:45, so that's in 7 minutes' time. A warm-up. Everyone happy. Game kicks off again, or recommences at 9 o'clock.
I can't see it because the rain's just picked up again. You look over there, that rain is dropping now, like it hasn't done for the last 40 minutes. That's proper rain, that.
Yeah, it's getting heavier. Yeah, I mean, the rain's back on again. Sorry, as soon as that happens, that's it, because there is not a chance. I don't know quite why they're prolonging the pain here. We're currently 6 minutes away from what the referee has determined, or the authorities have determined, should be warm-up at 8:45. Warm-up, work in the pitch, everyone happy, recommence the game at 9. But as they are still trying to push water off the pitch, so the rain is tumbling down from the skies, and it's getting heavier. So you're hearing an announcement now in the background. 8:45, they'll say the players will re-emerge. I cannot believe anyone inside this stadium thinks this game is going to finish tonight. Surely, I mean it's crazy.
To them, Richard, for sticking with it.
Well, they have stuck with it. There's no doubt about that. So we will be look, if the game does restart with 6 minutes played and we've kicked off at 9 o'clock, it's going to be the latest conclusion to a match we've ever seen in this country.
Doesn't this just sum up this season?
Yeah, there was me saying that the 3 minutes towards the end in Oslo summed it up. This is even more the case. Oh my goodness. So a 9 o'clock kick-off means, well, clearly that's going to be an hour and a quarter later. You take 6 minutes off that, which doesn't make a hell of a lot of difference. There could be that amount of stoppage time. We are going to be here deep into the night. Or we'll be away in the next hour or so, and we'll be back tomorrow night to try to get it done. It's an absolute shambles. And the rain's just getting heavier. There was a spell there where there was nothing coming down, a good half hour, it was dry. But it's just got heavier and heavier. And you can't help but feel that these guys are fighting a losing battle out on the pitch. It's not just the guys who've been down there, they've got the tracksuits on, the ground staff, there are guys in suits and dress shoes who are down there, there are stewards who are down there, they're doing what they can. The lady with the leaf blower has given up. She's decided that the leaf blower probably wasn't doing an awful lot of good.
Well, there's no leaks on the park, so she's obviously done the job properly.
I mean, the players are going to actually, it's gone on so long now that we're going to have to be getting food in. You know, you prepare for a game, you eat a certain amount of hours before a game kicks off to fuel yourself for the game. That time's passed, and then you're kind of too close to eat anything heavy, so it'll be, I don't know what they'll be doing down there, Jaffa cakes, bananas. Sports mixture. Yes.
You might need to get down and help them out.
They're all done, Liam's tandem. I've got half a sandwich left.
Yeah, not just the players are needing food. Starving up the media gantry here. I think we need to see what's happened to the half-time pies as they are available.
I can only assume, Richard, that it's dragging on as long as it is to pay lip service to the fans, to show that they've done everything that they possibly can to get this game back on, knowing fine well that there's a chance that they might not all be back here tomorrow for the game. So fair play to all the staff that are out on the pitch, because as Tomo mentioned probably about 20 minutes or so ago now, they've given it their absolute everything to clear the pitch with very limited tools and very limited resources in order to do it.
Right, we are almost at 8:45. The players are, I'm told, ready and getting prepared to come back out again. This is where we'll see it, where we see them running in the pitch, where we see the balls on the pitch. I'm not sure there's quite as much surface water coming up, but there's still plenty of it. And of course it's still raining. Well, those of you who played the game professionally, you're seeing what you're seeing there. Does it give you any more hope, any more optimism?
I can see that. Normally you don't see as many sweepers on the park as that.
Yeah, put me out of job, that's for sure. But I just want to see the ball moving. In patches it's moving okay. But the rain is still coming down, Richard. You know, in the goal mouth, I think the goalkeeper, you would need to have a... See, it's not bouncing in the goal area at all. It's about 8 yards out there and it's not bouncing. It seems to be moving a lot better, you know, across the surface.
Certain bits it's quite patchy, isn't it? There's certainly bits it's moving much better than it was earlier on, but I still don't think when the ball drops out the sky that there's going to be much movement on the ball, and the penalty areas still look really bad.
Very wet, the penalty area. Well, they're being entertained, but not in the football pitch.
I mean, the video of Scotland goals that they run in before the matches, that's now done a full loop about 14 times on the big screens, which the fans have been enjoying. Those who were working in the pitch largely have come off in the half that Scotland are now warming up in, but they're still working so hard in that goalmouth offshore. That goalmouth is there a slight run on the pitch?
Yeah,
there's
looks
so
that
much
way,
water
Richard.
in
No,
that
you're
goal.
spot on. I was thinking that earlier on, because certainly the left-hand side is nowhere near as bad, but they have been non-stop grafting in that right-hand side, and there's still not the same amount of water, but certainly a substantial amount of water still coming off.
The ball's not going to be rolling well enough, I don't think. You know, you're looking at the players just making passes just now, it's still getting caught up in the water, and as much as they've tried their very best to clear it, I really don't see it changing. The rain's now heavier than it was 5 minutes ago when we said it was back on. I can't see it happening.
What you're going to need is both managers and both teams to agree if they wanted to restart it, and I just don't see Georgia in particular wanting to give this a go 1-0 down. Safety's got to come first. Absolutely paramount for both sets of players.
I can imagine the club managers of all these guys will be on the phone saying, under no circumstances restart this match. They will be apoplectic, I think, at the prospect of this slugfest taking place.
Well, the Scotland players, they were essentially doing their own thing initially. They were across the pitch, they were making passes, they were getting a feel for it. They're now doing a more orchestrated warm-up. Let's quickly get back down to Jane. Oh, my goodness, it's torrential down there. Jane, what's the latest from down pitch side?
It's very, very wet, I can reveal, Richard. Yeah, look, I just spoke to a UEFA match official, one of the assistants, who said to me, and he was shaking his head while he was saying it, saying it's not looking good at all. He came out when he saw that the rain was falling, he was shaking his head. He confirmed that they were worried about the players' safety, and he also confirmed that it was very, very wet at the start when the rain was coming before they actually kicked off, and they think the rain's now heavier, so there's absolutely no way that the water's draining away, and we can see that from the boys that are still out there trying to get the water off the surface. But yeah, I don't think it's looking good. We've obviously got to wait. The players are out there on the pitch, as we can see, trying to move the ball about, but really there's so much surface water. But just to confirm, yeah, I spoke to a UEFA match official who just told me that it really is not looking good because of that new rainfall, and player safety is absolutely paramount in this situation. I think we'll find out in the next few minutes as to whether this game is off. The match officials have just come out, actually, Richard. I'll try and get a word with them to see what they're saying, but they've just ran back onto the pitch. I wonder if they're going to be bringing the players off. We'll just have a little look and a little watch, and we'll bring you another update when we can.
Yeah, I guess they're out to do their warm-up just the same as the players are. They need to get back up to speed again, I suppose, and that is what they're doing. They're just running as they do. You watch the officials do that. They run across the pitch back. They're kind of going through that. They're also making their way down that touchline off to our left-hand side. The rain isn't just quite as heavy as it was a few minutes ago. It might have just lessened a little. But one of the Georgia players has gone across to talk to the officials to make his feelings known as the officials continue their warm-up. And they still, that goalmouth looks awful. The goalmouth off to our right looks absolutely awful now as they work away at it. The Scotland players, they had been doing the warm-up there. They're now split out again, more in the kind of positions. They're just passing the ball back and forth across the pitch. Some areas it looks like it's moving relatively okay, but I've got to say, over the piece, it's just not conducive to playing passing football, certainly with the ball on the surface. The referee and his assistants, they are now in the goalmouth off to our left, and that's a goalmouth that looks better, and there's so much water coming up there. I just can't see how they can restart this game.
I don't think it's going ahead, Richard, and even if it does, within a couple of minutes the players will have found situations where the ball's stuck. You know, you look at Chris Woods warming up, Angus Gunn here, and the ball's sticking as it goes through to him. It's just...
Yeah. He's having to wait for the ball to actually arrive before he makes his dive. Well, they're continuing to go all the way around the pitch, the referee and his assistants, as they do their warm-up. They're assessing every part of it. The goal mouth off to our right, which they've just arrived at, that's the one that looks to be...
He's asking for
of most concern. Yeah, the referee getting the ball from the Georgian goalkeeper, and presumably he's now being... Well, he's got the Georgian goalkeeper in his ear, having a few words as he attempts to, well, just test the surface to see what kind of movements, what kind of reaction. That ball's dying. As it hits the surface, it is dying. It's not bouncing as it should do. The referee he's tried that a few times. He's now gone across. He's talking to his assistants there. He's trying to see if the ball will actually move across the 6-yard box, which, to be fair, it did that time. They just rolled it gently, and it did roll across the box, but I'm not sure that's enough of a guarantee that it is going to be safe. The Scotland players have been called together again, away across it in the middle of the pitch. They're starting to clear the balls off it. We're now, we're about 8 or 9 minutes away from what they said would be the rescheduled kick-off time at 9 o'clock.
Officials are carrying on with their warm-up, if that's any kind of a clue. If they were going to call it off, would they be continuing to go through the motions here?
And the rain is off again. There's just a few drops coming from the floodlights. How permanent that is, we don't know, because it's coming in from our left, and the clearer sky is now making its way across overhead the stadium and heading off. So I don't know what's coming around the corner, but there's plenty of ground staff on there. The Georgian players are still carrying on with their warm-up. Well, the referee's just nodded across to what I assume is the fourth official, and has literally nodded, which suggests that they are still, well, they haven't called it off, I would think. Now he is making his way back up the tunnel, and we all wait once more.
What they might need to do, Richard, is, like Tomo said, actually restart the game in a real life scenario that you can see how the ball's going to move properly, because there is certain bits of it now that it does look an awful lot better than it did earlier on.
Yeah.
The goalmouth, as the referee moved the ball, it certainly was moving, but you won't know until you're actually in the game. No. You know, we've seen it with Aaron Hickey travelling at pace earlier on when the game had restarted, and the ball just stopped dead, and he was about 4 or 5 yards beyond the ball. So you're going to need to see those moments to see how it plays out naturally.
Let's just hope that by some miracle they restart this one. We get 90 minutes played. We get this season done and dusted, because I said it right at the start, it was one of the longest seasons in living memory. Sure, they just want it extended by another 24 hours.
What I can guarantee is that if it does restart, if there was a roof on Hampden pitch, it will come off with the noise of this place. It will absolutely erupt.
Well, it is now 58 minutes since the players left the pitch. So they've certainly given it plenty of time. And bits of it, you're right, bits of it, the ball does seem to be moving. There's been no sign of the referee coming back out again, but the two sets of players have been going through their warm-up. The Georgian goalie, he's still not delighted. He keeps throwing the ball up into the penalty area, but actually it's rolling across the penalty area fairly well there. I mean, everyone all the people who have been helping to try to clear the pitch, and there must be about 20 of them, are in that goal mouth off to our left now. The one that didn't really seem to be doing an awful lot of work on earlier on. They are doing whatever they can to try to clear that. And the Georgian players now, well, there's no one else other than the Georgian players in that half to our right. They're continuing to just knock the ball around. There's still an awful lot of surface water in places where it's coming out. And we're just now waiting for the referee, for his assistants, to make their way back down the tunnel. There's been no sign. Steve Clarke and Willie Sagnol, the two respective managers, were being chatted to by the referee earlier. That's when the latest plan, the warm-up at 8:45, everyone happy, and the kick-off at 9 o'clock. That was when that was instigated. Steve Clarke is deep up the tunnel there. The boat's just one shot or so of him, just drinking a bottle of water as he waits. And we all wait. The two Scotland sub goalies, Liam Kelly and Xander Clark, have just left the pitch. I think we're left now with just the all but the 22 who started the match. A couple of the players there just stamping, and there's so much water still coming up. It's torture. Just it's that weight. Still the work goes on in the goal mouth off to our left. Angus Gunn is trying to inhabit that penalty area, but he's being completely consumed by those with brushes and squeegees as he waits for them to finish their work. And we wait for the referee to re-emerge. Some of the Scotland backroom staff, Stephen Naismith just coming down, having a chat with Ryan Jack, one of the Scotland substitutes. A few of the Georgia substitutes just standing there watching on and waiting for a conclusion to this incredible episode.
What happens if Georgia say, we don't think that's safe, we're not playing? Can the referee make them play?
It'll be up to the referee. The referee, he's clearly, the referee makes the decision as to whether a game is on, off, postponed, cancelled.
So if they say we're not playing on that, they forfeit the match.
Yeah, there would certainly be. No, we were talking about Estonia all those years ago, aren't we? If you're getting into that kind of scenario, but no, the referee has the absolute. He is the arbiter. He will make the decision as to whether the game goes ahead or not. If both teams were to put up a complaint, I guess he would have to take more cognizance of that. The Scotland players are actually they're fed up. They're gesturing back, saying, "What on earth is happening?" They're getting an indication there that the referee was talking to the captains. I can actually see if Andy Robertson. Still in the pitch. But the players are, well, that doesn't look good, does it? The players have just been brought back in again. All the Georgian players have left the pitch. The Scotland players are making their way back across as well.
Scott Mctominay's going absolutely nuts down there. He's not happy. They were ready to go, Richard.
Yeah,
they were ready to start.
They've warmed up, they've knocked the ball about, they've got themselves ready. Steve Clarke is now out. Liam Kelly having a few words with him.
Andy Robertson's got his arms outstretched on the far side. He's in the left back position, ready to go.
Clearly the referee wasn't talking to the captains, because Andy Robertson is still out there. Yeah, he's the last man in the pitch, in fact.
So if they're going back in, if they have to come back out, did they have another warm-up? Or are we seeing the last of them for the night?
Well, we're reaching the point where it's just getting almost too late.
Yeah.
Norway 2, Cyprus 0. Erling Haaland has just scored from the penalty spot to double Norway's lead. I guess that is fairly early in the second half of that one. The last few Scotland players, John McGinn, Lyndon Dykes, Andy Robertson, making their way off the pitch and up the tunnel. Steve Clarke is there. He's talking to the players as they get there. the subs, some of the subs are still in the technical area. I'm not quite sure why they would still be there if they were told that the game was off. Unless they're just soaking in the atmosphere of the night, but certainly there are a few of them still there.
So there's nobody squeegeeing up at one end now?
No, they're all down to the goal mouth to our left.
But the goal mouth that it's been deserted isn't looking in great shape.
No, to be fair, it's looked like that for the past 40 minutes or so. They worked so hard in it, it looked worse the longer they worked in it. And we're now in the dark. We've now reached that point where some kind of information has to be given out. And of course, those who are in charge downstairs are waiting for that decision to be taken. Just don't quite understand why the players were taken back off again, having been told to go out, warm up, and that the game would then kick off 15 minutes later. We've now reached that point. We have reached 9 o'clock. It is now 1 hour and 5 minutes since the players first left the pitch. And still we wait to find out what is going on there. I think some kind of information has just been relayed to the TV, those working for TV, because I see the floor manager down there just having a few words. Reporters just come out of the technical area, of the tunnel rather, and made their way towards the technical area and beyond, where the TV presentation is taking place. Back down to Jane. Jane can give us an important update.
Yeah, the UEFA officials just come out and told us actually that there'll be a 9:15 restart if the rain stays off. Now, if you look up, Richard, there is a big grey cloud above us, but if the rain stays off, you're just going to be hearing it announced as well. There'll be a it'll be up to the teams, the squad of players, if they want to have another warm-up. But as things stand, this game is going ahead as long as the rain stays off.
Seriously, why no? Why no? The players are out warming up. Why no start it, and then if rain goes on, just abandon it?
I don't quite get that. I mean, they're still working away. They're still trying to clear it, I suppose. The rain is off at the moment. But 9:15 start. It's going to be almost 10 o'clock.
That's Willie's bedtime.
Well, but it's going to be after 11 o'clock. Well after 11 o'clock before this game finishes. And then people are going to have to try to get away, try to get home. And it's not necessarily those who have come in coaches or who have driven from farthest flung parts of Scotland, but people who will be relying on local buses and transport and trains. It's nightmare.
I know.
So
it's not exactly the best stadium to get away from.
No, at the best of times.
Correct. Anyway, what do you want to talk about for 15 minutes?
Well, we could just watch the squeegee guys again. And I'll be honest, I've hit that wall now, so I'm kind of hoping that someone is going to get down the stairs and get some food.
To be fair, Richard, Tam Cowan's been peppering me for 20 minutes.
I've got a whole
could probably
column.
just work through them and it would take us through to kick-off time, I reckon.
Norway 3, Cyprus 0. Haaland's got a second one there. 2 goals in 4 minutes. No, the vast majority of Tam's texts are simply
he was worried. But he was worried why the best sweeper was sitting in the gantry. I don't know who he could be speaking about, and he's not got his cans on either, so he won't be speaking about.
Alex is one about they're not able to play the game here tomorrow night because there's a concert on. Wet are playing.
I like that one as well.
That was one of his better, cleaner ones.
I'm glad he wasn't just bombarding me with them. No. Tam's clearly trying to keep himself occupied. The players will be keeping themselves occupied down. Tell you what, seeing as we've had a lack of live football action, why don't we play out for our own delight and enjoyment the last 4 minutes of the game in Oslo on Saturday evening. Let's just settle back and enjoy what was the most incredible conclusion to that game against Norway.
It just don't look like threatening, do we? We've had 3 efforts on goal in the whole game, 1 on target. Just really kind of lacking ideas.
Kenny McLean picks up wide on the left, midway inside the Norway half. Low ball back to Robertson. We're in the final 5 of the 90 here. 1-0 Norway. Scotland with Hickey wide on that right hand side. Goes back to Hendry. Scotland scored, all changes again. But it just doesn't look likely.
No. You never know, Liam. Just takes one chance. I'd like to have seen Shankland or Nisbet coming on. I mean, like, when you need a goal, Shankland, the amount of goals the guy scored this season, Nisbet also had a good season. Chuck them on.
Here's Cooper. And the Scots, square ball for Hendry. Now it's with Mctominay in the middle. Forward to McGinn, holding off Odegaard, popping it through. McLean didn't have his eyes on it. Dykes gives chase. He gets there. Goal! Lyndon Dykes scores! Late salvation in Oslo for Scotland. The ball popped through to Dykes, and he gets the slightest, faintest of touches on it to put it past the goalkeeper Nyland. And the Scotland players celebrate over in the corner down on this near side. That is a massive goal for the Scots. It is a massive goal for the Tartan Army, who celebrate wildly up the other end. In the Ullaval, with 3 minutes of the 90 to play, it is Norway 1, Scotland 1.
When we said where's the goal going to come from, it actually comes from a massive error from Norway at the back, but we will take that most definitely. Lyndon Dykes was proactive, followed it in, but their Norwegian defence, they just stood and watched. They thought each other were going to take the ball and clear it. Nobody did. Dykes popped up and just, as you rightly said, being the slightest of touches past the goalkeeper. That's what you call a smash and grab.
Do you know what? There's something about this team right now. There is something about them, something in the air. And Lyndon Dykes just flicked it with the outside of the right boot past the goalkeeper. And it's one apiece. Steve Clark, arms in the air in celebration. And now, this is fine. A draw is fine.
Great result if we get a draw. I mean, you've got to feel for Kevin Nisbet, who'd been shouted up by Steve Clark to come on 2 seconds before the goal was scored. I doubt we'll see him now.
And of course, they've taken Haaland off of Norway. Here's Armstrong, knocking it through to Mctominay. Can it get even more sensational? McTominay's early ball, looking for Dykes. McGinn's in behind. McGinn turns it back. Dykes is there. Back to McLean. Goal! I cannot believe what I'm seeing here. Kenny McLean rolls it into the bottom right corner of the net, and we are seeing something so special from this Scotland side. The Norwegians do not know where to look, and Kenny McLean rolls home what might well be a sensational winner for Steve Clark's Heroes on a night when it looked like they were going to be defeated. It's a night that it looks like they might actually come out with a victory in. Norway 1, Scotland 2. That's Norway 1, Scotland 2.
I just can't believe what I've seen in the last 2 minutes. It's actually a brilliant finish from Kenny McLean on his weaker foot. Lyndon Dykes backs in from the cross ball. John McGinn sclaps his shot. It goes to Dykes, but his intelligence to see the run from Kenny McLean and just lay it off to him. And Kenny, that is so composed. What a finish from Kenny McLean. I mean, it's astonishing. 5 minutes ago we're saying we've not created anything. You know, where's a goal going to come from? We've banged 2 in the space of a minute, and we're going. It looks like we're going home with 3 points. We are flying, and that, by the way, my friend, puts paid to Norway. You can forget them in the group if the scoreline stays the same. Sensational.
Wow, that was sensational. And don't worry if we confused you. Apologies, but we just reached the stage where we felt we needed to hear some excitement, some action. So we replayed the last few minutes of that mattered, the minutes that mattered most for Scotland, with those 2 goals that saw them pick up 3 incredible points in Oslo. They got off to a good start here in terms of Callum McGregor scoring in the 6th minute, but about 5 to 9 after a few minutes delay as the referee spoke to 1 or 2 people up the tunnel, the players were taken off. So that was at 5 to 8. They have been off ever since. We've had various inspections, there have been various delays. We're now told that this game will resume at 9:15, or at least the players will be back out at 9:15. We're also told it'll be up to the players, to both sides, if they feel they need a warm-up. If not, the game will kick off, and it will do so 6 minutes into the match, and with Scotland leading by 1-0. And then it is just fingers crossed that they can see it out, that they can finish the game off, and then we can finally draw a curtain, draw a close to this incredible 2022-23 season. Again, the rain has now been off for 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe. Still, they are moving so much water off the goal mouth. I mean, it is astonishing.
Where's it coming from?
I really don't know.
It's coming from underneath the ground.
From the sky. The clouds.
I'm not even sure anymore.
Richard, you've got to look at, they've moved all of the water from between the 6-yard box and the 18-yard box. They've moved it into the 6-yard box.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why it's saturated. It's full. We can't get any more in there.
It's Georgian tears.
Oh my goodness, it is.
Our right-hand side, Richard, does look slightly better in the sense that the way they're moving the water now, you can actually see it changing.
Don't use that.
I'm telling you, it looks better. We're game on now. I've changed. I'm totally optimistic now. And there's a wee glimmer of light sky over there if you look just to your left-hand side, Tom.
Yes,
where the clouds have broke. That's our glimmer of hope. Just keep looking at it. Yeah. I'm telling you, this game is underway, no doubt.
You'll be sitting saying that at 3 o'clock in the morning.
No, I know. In traffic, still trying to get out of Hampden.
My only concern is that glimmer of light is about a mile away and nowhere near the stadium. I'm more concerned with the overhead conditions. Right, where are we now? We're 5 minutes away from the players supposed to be re-emerging. I think that's one of the Georgian players yet back out again, just talking to some of the backroom staff. The conversations continue. The subs, Scotland subs. Oh, here come the players. Andy Robertson and Callum McGregor. Out they come, bouncing back onto the pitch. And splashing back onto the pitch, and the water is shooting up from their feet. It's just an incredible night. All the years been covering. I've never seen anything quite like this. I've seen postponements, I've seen games being abandoned, but not abandoned in slow motion, as this one potentially has been. So we're back in a situation that we were about, what was that, about half an hour ago, but the Scotland players are out. They're knocking the ball about, and actually, you've got to say, it does seem to be, the balls on the pitch seem to be moving a bit better. Certainly not getting caught up in the lakes, the lochs that seem to be interspersed all across the pitch earlier on. I'd still have my doubts about that goalmouth off to the right, which looks awful. But there's no sign, as things stand, of the Georgia players. The Scots are out. They are just running around that half of the pitch. They're knocking the ball about, and clearly, having taken the lead, Scotland are keen at this stage to see this game continue. We await for the re-emergence of the Georgia players. Just hearing the announcement there, yeah, they're asking for a round of applause and appreciation for everyone out on the pitch who have been doing the hard graft, who have been doing everything they can to try to clear the water from the pitch. So we've just about get there. Yeah, actually, producer David just making the point. Well done to the fans as well, because it looks as if pretty much everyone is still here. Now, some might have to leave early, some may have a decision to make. But in the main, people are here. They are staying, and they're back with the music, and they're back trying to pump things up. We've gone 9:13, so if the players are coming up, we are going to get up and running at 9:15. Then the Georgia players are going to have to emerge very soon. They clearly don't.
I'd love to be down there just to see what the Georgians are saying, hearing what they're saying, their body language. You know, what is it, 14 minutes past now? The match is supposed to, is it 14? It's supposed to kick off in a minute and there's still no sign of them. I'd say they're kicking up stink over this. They do not want to play.
Yeah, I can't help but imagine that may well be the conversation that's going on. Scotland round, they are determined. They are determined to get this going. But we need a team, we need an opposition. It was, oh my goodness, that game against Estonia all those years ago, and of course October the 9th 1996, in very different circumstances. It was all to do with the floodlights and the lighting and everything that was going on, but that was the game where Scotland kicked off and of course walked off thinking they would get the points and ended up having to replay the match.
I'm not sure they're coming out.
The Georgian president is in the referee's room, saying that they do not want to play. So I say the Georgian president would be the president of the Football Association or Football Federation. He is in with the referee and he's saying that they do not want to play this match. Yeah, that's the word that we're getting there. The Georgian president, football president, in the referee's room, he's saying that as far as he's concerned, they do not want to play. So we are heading into Estonia territory from all those years ago.
If we start the game and they don't come out, if they don't come out and we start the game again,
well, it'll be up to the that's what happened. Of course, the referee, Scotland turned up, they kicked off, they ran down the pitch, rolled the ball in the net, the referee blew the final whistle. And then, of course, we ended up having to go to Monaco, and it was a 0-0 draw that we eventually played out against Estonia. Then it'll be down to the decision the referee takes as to whether he wants to say, no, look, I have said that the kick-off time is this, you must now come out, you must now play.
Surely you're not going to throw away 3 points now that it is, well, we'll see if it's playable, but like, if they win tonight, they're only 2 points behind us in the group with a game in hand. It would be utter madness for them not to come out and throw the game. Madness.
It would be a 3-0 victory, right?
I don't know.
Presumably.
Is that what happens, is it?
Is that for not turning up? Is that what happens?
Yeah, for not refusing to play. And a big fine. They might even get thrown out of the group, who knows?
Yeah. Surely the delegate's got to have some say in this as well, is he not?
Well, I mean, there will be... Oh, I heard an announcement there, but it's actually for a fan to contact steward or police. Right, Steve Clarke is back out. He's now chatting to his backroom staff. And still, the conversations, it would appear, are going on in the referee's room.
What is it?
Right,
it's like a number of Scottish players looking on the pitch, looking down the tunnel, kind of saying, "Where are you, Georgia?"
Yeah. I mean, Andy Robertson's out. He's got his hands to the heavens, wondering what on earth is happening. There's booing going on. And still we await the Georgians. We go back and forth constantly. It is. I mean, they have decided they just don't want to play. Pure and simple. So now the referee has got a big decision to make. Presumably there will be a UEFA official there with him. Steve Clarke is trying to look as calm and relaxed as ever. He's been out in the pitch. Now comes the referee. Back out. Tell me, he's got a ball in his hand.
There's still no sign of Georgia.
He's out for another inspection.
He's coming out to have another look at the pitch. This because he's been put under pressure.
At this stage. Come on, man.
This off, isn't he?
Because Georgia are clearly putting the pressure on for him to put off.
Totally.
No other reason.
But what's he going to do with that ball? Because he's done nothing with it so far.
Well, hopefully I'll keep you up.
Surely you get some of the players out and you ask them to pass the ball in an area.
Well, the Scotland players are all now kicking the balls towards the referee to make the point.
Richard, what is he doing?
Well, I mean, this is not what was agreed. This is not what he said. Right, we'll still wait to see if anything comes from Georgia. Liam.
I'm just saying, Richard, if he calls this off at this point, can you imagine the Scotland supporters inside the stadium?
Yeah, it's going to be
They'll
absolute
go bananas.
Undisguised fury.
What is he doing?
This almost feels to me like he's been put under pressure by the Georgians. He's come back out again, done a cursory inspection and said, no, you're right, it's not playable.
The Scotland players have been banging the ball into the goal in front of the referee to prove that the pitch is playable in their opinion.
The pitch is the most playable it's been
the
all
whole
night.
Absolutely.
It's more playable
absolutely.
It's more playable than it was at 7:45 when he kicked off.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually bouncing quite well. Andy Robertson's thrown a couple of balls up trying to make his point.
I just wonder if they're trying to get the referee to reset the clock and reset the scoreboard before they start again, because it was a farcical 6 minutes that was played. Now I don't think they can do that.
No,
I think it has to be, the rules state it starts at the point that the match was suspended. But I just wonder if that's a conversation they've had as well.
Well, we don't know, and it would be very good to find out, and we hope that we're going to find out something concrete very shortly indeed. This is ridiculous. Actually, there's so many farcical elements of this night, but actually the way the referee has done this and coming in and out, little wander around the pitch, back in again, back out. I mean, he has not covered himself in glory, and you're right, Liam, if he calls this off now, then it's going to be mayhem, and it's
Richard, he still doesn't know if that pitch is playable or not. That's the problem. He hasn't done any kind of exercise to see if that ball will move. That is the important thing. If the ball's not moving, then it's a danger to the players, and he's got to call it off. But if it is moving, then you can make that decision to replay it or to restart it. But he hasn't done anything like that. I don't really know why he's jogged around the pitch as a kind of a show of he's actually inspecting the pitch.
Sorry, what was the big...
Andy Robertson looked down the tunnel, he got a thumbs up from someone and he clapped his hand and jogged onto the pitch, which the fans spotted, Richard, so I think he's been given the go-ahead. He must see Georgia in the tunnel, but we don't have those pictures
Steve
yet.
Clark has just lifted both hands and he's saying 10. Now, I'm assuming that means 10 minutes.
I
hope it means 10 minutes and not 10 o'clock.
No way.
So we'll get the official announcement, we'll get official word as soon as we can. There are some frantic discussions taking place between officials down there. But Steve Clark certainly lifted both hands. The referee, I think.
So the next thing we have for you is we are going to kick off at 9:30.
9:30, which is another 9 minutes. So kick-off now delayed until 9:30.
Georgian players are in there doing rain dances.
I know. They might be hoping that the fans just leave as well, and it'll even things out a wee bit when you take away the 50,000 Scotland fans.
This is just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous that we keep delaying it in the way that they have. But a 9:30 kick-off.
What a reception these Georgian lads are going to get for the rest of the night.
The players are now giving the supporters a round of applause. I think they understand the frustration and they're hoping that they stay with them, because the boys are ready for it. They're out on the pitch. None of them look like they want to get back inside either, Richard. And it'll be interesting to see how things change, because Steve Clark and the Georgian manager look pretty amicable 6 minutes into the game, but I'm not too sure that feeling will still be existent just now.
Well, I mean, these Scotland players now just have to keep active, I suppose, do they? They need to keep themselves as warm as they possibly can. And you would imagine that if he has said, right, 9:30, the Georgian players have to get in there. They have to get in and get themselves warmed up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And if the rain stays off and it comes 9:30 and they don't want to play, then they should just forfeit the match, because the reality is Scotland are ready to go. The referee seems to be under the impression that the pitch is ready to go. The fans are here.
Scotland players have they've come off the pitch and then make their way back up the tunnel again. Now, whether that's... Well, there's some discussions going on. Andy Robertson's chatting to one or two down there.
Georgian players in the tunnel now.
Right. I think what we do need to absolutely get clarified is that this game is resuming 6 minutes in with Scotland 1-0 up. That's what we assume to be the case. That's what we think to be the case. The way he's getting the players, but he's not going to take them all back out again. If he's taking them into the tunnel and the referee, and he wants to bring them back out again.
They're coming out together, aren't they?
Yeah, but if that's what it's going to happen, that almost feels as if he wants to restart the game.
I think they announced over this PA that it would restart from the 6th minute.
Yeah.
So Scotland are 1-0 up when this game restarts.
Well, I guess we'll see the big screens. They'll set the big screens, won't they?
Yeah.
To show 6 minutes have been played. The Georgia players have come back out. You might have managed to work out.
And the Scotland players are nowhere to be seen.
Booed roundly. We're getting lots of close-ups of Scotland fans with their hands cupped around their mouths and their mouths in the shape of the obvious of the boo. So the coach, the Georgian coach, just getting his players together to warm up, go through their paces. Scotland have gone back in the dressing room, if they're taking on more fluids or liquid gel or protein, goodness only knows what they'll be doing right now. They'll be back out hopefully very soon indeed, and the roof will be raised over the stadium once again as the players come back out.
It's actually a very pleasant evening now.
Yeah, what you just don't want is for them finally getting back out, finally get the game up and running again. And the moment they kick off, well, I wouldn't say it, but you all know what I was thinking. Just please don't let that happen.
No.
Right, so we kicked off at 7:45. The players left the pitch at 7:55. It's now 9:25. We're in an hour and a half. The game would be in its final 10 minutes or thereabouts.
We'll be off here. We'll be off here soon, won't we?
We'll finish at 10:30, so bad luck if the game's still continuing. It's going to take forever to get away from this place tonight. Like any other song is no Scotland, no party. Currently there is no Scotland. Norway are 3-0 up. The lucky beggars have got 10 minutes left of their match. We've got somewhat longer to go this evening. What a night it has been, and not in the most memorable and enjoyable of circumstances. But it does look as if we are about, in the next 4 minutes,
You've
to
said
have
that
a game of
3
football.
times tonight.
I think we're more confident than ever that this game is about to resume.
I would say so.
There have been large chunks of the evening where I refuse to look at the bits of the pitch where I can see that the ball clearly isn't running and it's getting caught up in puddles.
It seems like yesterday since Callum McGregor scored, by the way.
Yeah,
I mean, so I hope the goal comes back up on the big screen, because I've forgotten what it looked like.
Amazing, absolutely. Yeah, corner on the right, McGinn knocked out, and Callum McGinn stepped onto it. Powerful effort from 14 yards. Keeper got his hand to it, but couldn't keep it out. Scotland do lead by 1-0, and they will resume this. In fact, they've just put it up at the telly in front of you, Tom. And actually, you see the pitch there.
There you go.
We're now told the game will kick off at 9:35. 9:35. I've got no idea why, but I'm now told it's a 9:35.
So we've got 9:15 to 9:30 to 9:35. Why don't just make it 10 o'clock?
Are they just hoping that we run out of time in this day to actually complete it? We'll just
What's the rush?
9:35 kick-off time. So that is, I mean, it's only 8 minutes. It's not the longest delay we've had all night long, but the game, there are signals being made to, I don't know if they've been made to officials in the stand, or if it's fans or players. One of the Georgian officials making some kind of gestures there with his fingers. So I can't quite comprehend exactly what's happened here. So the Scotland players were out warmed up, they were ready to go. Georgian players came out, Scotland players went back in, and now it's been delayed even further in terms of this match actually kicking off.
Richard, this will be Steve Clarke just trying to play mind games, I think. You know, they've sat inside waiting, keeping Scotland waiting, and then now Steve will be doing the same to them.
Do you remember when McGregor scored and we all thought, hang on, there could be a VAR check here in our innocence?
This is a VAR check. Just lasted for an hour and a half.
Oh, you pined for an old VAR check, wouldn't you?
We'll never complain about a 5-minute VAR check ever in life.
Richard, there's one thing that we should be talking about really this time is, do you think there'll still be pies at half time?
I mean, I would imagine that the fans have been availing themselves of the refreshments.
Well, it looks bleak, does it?
I thought the chances for us were probably I'm passing out of 100 here.
I know.
We were on here so early there was no food down in the meeting room, and now we should just about be off here. We still haven't had anything to eat. I'm hoping someone will rectify that over the course of the next little while.
We've been on here for 3.5 hours and we've seen 6 minutes of football.
But that actually might be a record. I mean, we have done some marathon build-ups over these. I think 3 hours build-up to kick-off is probably the best or the longest we've had to do. And certainly we've had some lengthy wrap-ups afterwards of games have finished early or been abandoned or whatever. This is incredible. 3.5 hours for 6 minutes of football. Although, to be fair, we did play out 4 minutes from Oslo as well.
So that's
10 minutes of live action that the listeners have. Hey, if you were with us at 6 o'clock and you're still with us now, congratulations, well done.
Thank you.
You deserve an absolute medal. If you keep dropping in every now and again, just to see if there's any sign of the football, well, there will be football before too long. We are almost there, as far as we know. The highlights on the BBC One, we're going to be showing the highlights at 10:40. Good luck with that. So they're now moved it to 11:40. So the highlights will be on at 11:40 tonight on BBC One Scotland.
Still a quick turnaround for the TV folk.
Well, it certainly will be.
At least they've got food and water though, Tom.
Yeah, pies probably. Sweeties.
Now, I'm actually just wondering though why we've stopped the squeeging, because there is still bits of the pitch that could be doing me a wee bit, and since the delays have kept going, you maybe could have, I suppose, have maybe ran out of energy all the same, but
someone needs to come up and give Liam a massage here. I think he's seasoned up.
Yeah.
He needs. The great man has got a big long night ahead of him, and I worry about it.
Yeah, I just want to say, I mean, the guys who've been working on the pitch, kudos to them. The kudos to our very own Richard and to Emma and Viaplay as well, trying to fill for the last however long it is now.
Yep.
I mean, that is no mean feat, having to do that.
Top pros.
Well, I mean, I keep saying it, but it kind of feels like we're just about there, and it kind of feels right now that we will have a game of football tonight. It could change with just a few dark rain clouds. Let's hope there is no sign of that. There is, though, sign of the Scotland team, led back out by Andy Robertson. Huge applause all round the stadium. For the first time in over an hour and a half, we've got two sets of players on the pitch who both would appear to be ready to play a game of football. Steve Clarke has walked back over. Right there. Okay. Right. So this is what we're being cleared up now. The game will restart with 9 minutes 40 seconds on the clock, because that was when he officially suspended the game or put a halt to the game. So 9 minutes 40 on the clock, Scotland leading 1-0, but the referee will then add on the 3 minutes probably at the end of the first half. So 9 minutes 40 seconds played, with Scotland leading by 1-0. The referee is out. The two assistants are out. They are peeling off to either Gomard to go and check the nets.
I hope it's the nets.
Because that's what they have to do. One of them's just got in a dinghy so he can get to the back of the net there to check it. Right, they're happy. They're heading off to their respective touchlines. The referee is back out. Georgia have it. It's showing up in the big screens. 1-0 Scotland, 9 minutes 40 on the clock. Back to Liam McLeod.
Yeah, just confirmation on the big screen there. 9 minutes 40 on the clock. Scotland 1, Georgia 0. And at 21:33 BST, the game gets back underway and the Georgians take centre, having just gone behind, and I use the word just in inverted commas. It's rolled back to the goalkeeper Mamardashvili, who launches it forward up towards halfway. Tierney with a header forward, McGinn trying to get onto it, but it is picked up by Otar Kabadzadze over on that right hand side, and then fired down the right flank here into the path of Lobzhanidze, who actually went close in those 6 minutes that were played earlier. He's in possession, level with the Scotland penalty spot, rolls it back the way, and the Georges will have the first attempt in this first restart of the first half, and it's fired across the bows of the goal, and behind it goes for the goal kick. But it's a good signal of intent from Georgia, that's for sure. That's what Willie Sagnol, their manager, will have wanted to have seen right on the restart. Scotland 1-0 up though still.
Yeah, pretty fiery start from them. Really some good football as well down the right hand side, with the strike coming in at a very tight angle and flying by that far post. It has been, you know, such a long wait to restart it. I think the Georgians definitely in the opening minutes of the restart have started it better than Scotland.
There's a little worry. There's a good run down the right hand side initially by Lobzhanidze. Scotland in possession here with Hendry. He plays it to Tierney, overhits the pass. Tierney's going to get there. In short to Robertson. Back in field to Tierney, to Gilmore. How do you think the pitch is playing, Tom?
I think it's all right. I mean, you looked at Hendry overhitting that pass there. I think they've been told to put extra on their passes to make sure it gets to the person you're passing it to, and that's what happened on that occasion.
Ryan Porteous on the ball, level with the edge of the centre circle in his own half, just rolling it back to Hendry, who puts it into the path of Tierney as he approaches the halfway line. Scotland shooting in this first half, left to right towards the east stand end of Hampden in their navy blue. Georgia in the mostly white but with red as well, shooting towards the west stand, right to left. Steve Clark at the edge of his technical area down below us. Scotland 1-0 up, remember, thanks to that Callum McGregor goal, which was the last action in the 6 minutes that were officially played, albeit there was the delay after that. That will be added on in stoppage time at the end of all this in the first half, as Tierney picks up in the halfway line, forward to McGinn, fires it to the goal scorer McGregor, out wide left for Robertson, driving forward away from one challenge into the area, wonderful across, the goalkeeper gets the touch onto it. It was vital because there were two in navy blue around him, and Georgia managed to scramble the ball clear. Scotland 1, Georgia 0.
It's absolutely brilliant again from Andy Robertson. He was superb over in Oslo. Hold on.
Scotland win it back. A little bit lax there by Georgia at the back, but they're in possession here, just right of the centre circle, driving forward, trying to get in behind again with Gagnidze. Works the 1-2 with Lobzhanidze on the far side, but Tierney's there and he smashes it out for a throw-in to the visitors. This is going to be a bit level with the Scotland 18-yard line over on the north stand side.
Yeah, it was brilliant play, as I was saying, from Andy Robertson, cutting into the box, gets to the byline, flashes it right across the face, and actually in the end the goalkeeper could only just get a hand to it. Unfortunately for us, it didn't fall to any of the players that were in there for us, and they managed to hook it clear, but brilliant.
Georgia with the ball just outside the right angle of the Scotland box. Gilmore wins it back, and back to Robertson, who dumps it clear with the left foot. Underneath it with a header was Kasia, the experienced Georgian skipper, most capped player ever for the Georgia national side, as it goes out for a throw-in over on the Georgia right for the visitors, just inside their own half. It's been so difficult for those players to get back up to the tempo that they began at almost 2 hours ago now. Hendry picks up and plays it short to Ryan Porteous, who incidentally, if he's booked tonight, will miss the next match, which is against the Cypriots in September. As the Watford defender rolls it back to Hendry, now with Tierney. Scotland with a precious lead, 14 minutes in, long ball, Tierney looking to find Hickey, he's found him as well, brilliant from Tierney. Hickey's dropped the shoulder back onto the left, doesn't have the cross though, and he sails over the head of Dykes and over the head of Kakabadze and behind for the goal kick to the visitors.
Yeah, it was a disappointing finish to the move, but you know, playing it across the back, and then Tierney, it's a good 60-yard diagonal cross field for you know, young Hickey, who controls it really well, but then doesn't use it. You know, he's got to look up, he's got to pick out Dykes. He overhits it and it goes tamelessly by, and it was really quite a refreshing move, but wasted at the end.
Billy Gilmore picks up, rolls it into the centre circle for McTominay, back to Hendry, short with Gilmore, who finished the season really strongly at Brighton. There's Callum McGregor rolling it out wide left for Tierney on the touchline, midway inside Georgian territory. And back it comes to Robertson, and then he squares it to Hendry. The Scots see most of the ball. 15 played. Robertson rolls it forward to McGregor, then back to the skipper, who earns his 64th cap this evening. He's now just one behind Willie Miller, two to my right. It's a poor pass from Porteous, gives it away, but it was equally poor from Gagnidze. The Dynamo Moscow player in Scotland have it wide in the left of the box. In comes the cross, Dykes with a header, it's just wide. Scotland claiming corner. It's come off the defender last, but it's an opportunity at the back post there for Dykes, who was the main man in Oslo on Saturday.
It was hung up, isn't it? Yeah, it was hung up really well by Kieran Tierney. They know Dykes is there at the back post.
I think it's a corner when you see that.
It should have been. He gets above the defender, headers it off his shoulder and wide. It should have been a corner kick, but positive again from Scotland down that left-hand side.
They're in a fantastic position in the group, but also tonight. Finished 3-1 to Norway. Cyprus pulled a goal back late on through Castanos, but one from Solbach and two from Haaland. Norway win 3-1. Scotland come forward. McTominay with a cross just behind McGinn, and it breaks kindly for Kakabadze over on the far side, and the right-sided defender dinks it clear. Hendry knocks it forward, but it's going to be Georgia with a long ball, which goes out for a throw-in on the far side, midway inside the Scotland half. And Kieran Tierney is already over this one, his 39th cap. Injuries have prevented him from having much more than that, and he's been a mainstay, such an important player for Scotland, and that left side of the defence is terrific. If Tierney gets forward, then Robertson just covers, and vice versa, and both equally good going forward. Gilmore clipping it up high down that left-hand side. McGinn with a header infield, looking for Dykes, bounces off the defender and then bounces off Dykes on the ricochet, and it goes behind, well wide of the right-hand post in the end. But it stays Scotland 1, Georgia 0, 17 minutes played. It was enough to get the Scotland supporters excited.
I'm not sure why the keeper got his bearings so badly wrong there, Willie.
Yeah, it was always going wide, well wide too, wasn't it? He kind of made it look a little bit more anxious than he really had to. Just looking at the setup, Gilmore is just sitting really deep, almost just in front of the back three there. And the other midfield players are allowed to go forward. It's probably the two in front with McTominay and McGregor. Yeah. And then McGinn up supporting Dykes.
McTominay winning it back off Gaganidze down this right-hand side. Gagnidze stays with him. McTominay rolls it square into Gilmore. Gilmore looking for Hickey. Still Billy Gilmore has it down by the corner flag here on the near side. And he's done well to win the corner kick for his team there. That didn't look like a likely outcome, but he's done so.
He showed brilliant upper body strength. He really did. He was not favourite to get there and win the ball. He takes it right into the corner flag. And does he just flick it off the Georgian defender? Yes, he does.
He did well. Came off Lobzanidze, and it's going to be a corner on this near side for the Scots, to be taken by McGinn. In swinger with a left foot coming up. 18.5 on the clock. The Scots leading 1-0. In from McGinn's a really deep delivery towards the left-hand side of the 6-yard area. It just comes off the defender and picked up by Lobzanidze down the right, and he's just put it out of play for a throw-in to Scotland. So they stay in an attacking position about level with the 18-yard line of the visitors. And the ball being dried down by Kieran Tierney over there. Is a towel handy for him.
Doubt the towels are dry though, are they?
He's given it his best shot anyway. It's 19 on the clock. Callum McGregor is the short option for Tierney. And there are options, of course, in the area. Porteous came up for it. It's headed away by Gagnidze. It breaks back into the penalty area though, and then Georgia headed out to the edge of the D, where McGinn picks up And then Hendry goes back to Robertson in his own half, and he in turn goes back to Angus Gunn. He looks up, long right foot ball down that left hand side. He's found Kieran Tierney as well. It's terrifically worked by the Scotland keeper. Tierney back to McGregor, back to Tierney. He's got plenty of time to pick out a cross here, and it comes! And it almost fell for Mctominay in the 6-yard line. Just too high for both McGinn and Dykes. And Georgia are able to get it clear, and now it is they who have it in the midfield. It's picked up by the Georgian star Kvaratskhelia on this near side. Long ball forward, picked up by Mkhitaryan. Goes for goal from the right hand side of the D, outside the Scotland box, but it sails harmlessly over. Goal kick to Scotland, 1-0 to Scotland, 20 on the clock.
Yeah, but it's a good cross in, isn't it, from Kieran Tierney down the left hand side. Him and Andy Robertson taking turns to go down there, and we've worked a really dangerous cross into the box. A little bit unlucky that he couldn't find a dark blue jersey there, otherwise it could have been the second. Yeah, both John McGinn and Dykes had just gone slightly ahead of the ball, and then McTominay coming in at the back, it wouldn't really break for him.
Scotland in possession here with Gilmour forward towards McGinn, holding off his man as he does always so well. Out wide left, McGregor fires it forward, looking for Dykes. Should be the defenders. And it's Cassia who gets there ahead of Lyndon Dykes. He actually dealt with it really well. As Georgia pick up over on the far side. Kitishvili of Sturm Graz is rolling it back the way, and then out wide left it comes here for Diwali. Kvaratskhelia is at close quarters. He passes it to He, and it's knocked back the way to Kveperskiri to the right hand side. And Georgia, Velia down the line it goes, but the pass is overhit and it goes out for a throw-in to Scotland. Georgia trying their best to get going. It'll be difficult for both sets of players, but mentally the Georgians, given they conceded the goal in the 6 minutes that were played before the suspension of proceedings, and then it became clear that they weren't too keen to get back out onto the pitch to play the game. Mentally it must be pretty difficult for them to get back to the level required for a top international football match. I think it would be, plus you know, all the messing about, you don't know what's been said in the dressing room, or whether the president was in there trying to make a case for the game not being played at all, and mentally you've then got to just switch back on again. Not an easy thing to do. Hickey has it in the legs under pressure. Two Georgian players got around of him. Kitishvili was one of them. As it was dinked back to Angus Gunn, he can only find touch over on the other side of the pitch. Throw in Georgia about level with the edge of the centre circle on their right hand side as they try and attack the goal to the left.
It just got caught a wee bit for the first time I've seen it since the restart, and Hickey's feet there. I think this nearest bit to our stand that we're in, Willie's got the most kind of water on it just at the touchline.
Long big switch of play out to this near side where it's picked up by Kvaratskhelia. Midway inside the Scotland half, just pokes it back the way. And eventually it's rolled out to Diwali on this near side, an Apoel Nicosia player. And eventually it's back to the skipper, Kasia. Square ball. And it's shifted into the centre circle for Gagnidze. Kasia again. And gets it back immediately from Kveperskiri. And he picks up again. The pass back to him, and he rolls it back to his goalkeeper at the edge of his own box. Georgia seeing plenty of the ball just in the last couple of minutes, mostly in areas where they are not going to hurt Scotland. 23 have been played. Scotland 1, Georgia 0. It's to the edge of the centre circle. It's Tierney rolling it back to Robertson. Turn goes back to his keeper. Gunn takes a touch and then chips it out to this near side for Aaron Hickey. Heads it into the midfield area. Georgia pick up the scraps though. It's back out to Diwali on this near side. And back to Kasia. Kakabidze. And then to the right hand side. Lobsanidze. Rolled back to Kasia. It's patient from the Georgians, you have to say. They're trying to pick their way through. Kvaratskhelia has it on this near side. He's challenged well by Porteous. Scotland have it back with McGinn on the turn. Dykes ahead of him. Just runs into Gagnidze though. Georgia have it back. Kvaratskhelia goes down just inside the centre circle. And that's going to be a Georgia free kick.
get very good close control, and excellent movement too, and they link up really well. Even though the conditions are difficult to slick that ball about, they seem to be managing to do that quite well indeed.
Took a quick free kick. Mctominay couldn't take advantage of it, though. He has to pass it back the way. Cassius steps into the Scotland half. Out to this near side. Diwali's attempted ball forward, took a flick off a Scotland player, but it's come back kindly to the feet of Angus Gunn. And he plays it short to Hendry.
It's moving all right, the ball, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say so.
The forecast says there's no more rain tonight either.
That would help.
Yeah. There's Porteous out to the right for Hickey. And then back to Ryan Porteous again. He's got a serious opportunity to become a mainstay in this side. It's his 5th cap tonight. Tierney out wide left for Robertson. Robertson forward for Callum McGregor. Just comes off the defender and breaks kindly for Cassia. Is able to dump it clear with the right foot out to that far side. Robertson's little flick finds McGregor. Level with the 18-yard line to the overlapping Robertson. Wins the corner. Really good again from the skipper.
Yeah, again down that left-hand side. Kind of interplay between both Tierney, McGregor, and then finally Robertson takes his first touch. He's always trying to be positive, getting to that byline and look for a crossing opportunity. Defender's no option but to put it out for a corner,
which will be taken by Scott McTominay, right-footed in swinger coming up from that northeast corner of the stadium. Swings it into the 6-yard area. It's headed up into the air by a Georgian defender, headed back down by Gilmore. It's still in the area. McGinn's battling for it. Shots blocked. Did so well, so strong, John McGinn. As Callum McGregor picks it up over to the left, it goes to McTominay. McTominay's level with the edge of the D of the Georgia box. Yep, he decides to go back the way to Robertson. Pings it up high with the left foot to the right-hand side of the box where Tierney takes a touch onto it. He's found himself over on the right, having been up for that previous corner. He rolls it to Hickey. Hickey midway inside the Georgia half. A little misunderstanding with Tierney as he tried to play him in, and he will be seen behind for the goal kick by Lasha Diwali. It's a goal kick to the visitor. Scotland 1, Georgia 0, 26.5 on the clock.
I'd just like to have seen Hickey again there, just fire that in the diag into the box. All the big men have stayed up from the corner. Dykes has got his arms in the air for that particular ball. He goes for the kind of intricate pass through to Tierney. Didn't quite come off.
Just having a look back at the Scotland goal scored by Callum McGregor. I think maybe Georgi Mamardashvili will have been disappointed that he didn't keep that one out. And it's Georgia in possession. It's a long ball pinged back towards his own box by Kverk Verskiri. Picked up just outside the own 18-yard line by Kirkhalia. Sampled this fixture back in the Euro 2016 qualifiers. McTominay on the stretch does well, finds Robertson. He sweeps it forward, but it's collected by Gagnidze. And eventually it's switched out to the left for the Georgians on this near side. Diwali in field for Gagnidze. And back to Kasia. Now Kirkhalia. They're being patient, Scotland just holding their positions. They perhaps didn't produce the best performance in the world in Norway on Saturday, but defensively they kept Erling Haaland pretty quiet over the piece. Alexander Sorloth looked a much more dangerous player as Georgia give it away cheaply. Here's Callum McGregor now moving up towards the edge of the Georgia box. To the left for Dykes, and it comes, and then cleared by Gagnidze. So important he got there because John McGinn and Scott McTominay were both lurking behind him. 28 played, Scotland 1, Georgia 0.
Maybe a strike from McGregor. I thought it kind of opened up for him.
You're right.
You know, it's on his left foot as well. I mean, he sets up Dykes really well, and it's a decent cross across the face of the goal. Difficult to defend, but defended well.
Here's Gilmore having got the throw in from Tierney. He finds Robertson back towards Tierney, and it's just too much on the pass, and it goes behind harmlessly for the goal kick to the visitors. And it will remain as we approach 29 minutes with the Scots leading by a goal to 0.
I think we're fairly comfortable in the game. I mean, apart from right at the very start of the restart, that shot that kind of flew across the face of goal, not really looked as though they're going to trouble us, Georgia. They've had some reasonable spells of possession in the middle of the park and at the back of the pitch, but you know, we're 1-0 up. You can keep the ball there all day long if you want.
Diwali back to Kasia, first time with the right foot from deep inside his own half, and he's put it straight out of play for a Scotland throw-in. level with the edge of the centre circle. You do feel, Willie, if Scotland can find a second goal, it's going to be very difficult for Georgia to come back at that point. Not just because they'd be 2-0 down in the game, just everything that's been going on for the last almost 2.5 hours now.
Yeah, I think mentally it'll be difficult for them. They'll be feeling hard done by as well, losing the goal in very poor conditions. But the other thing is they haven't really threatened so far, have they? Nice play, easy in the eye, but they haven't done anything in the final third, anything in and around their box. Only the one shot, and that flew by the left-hand post. But other than that, it's all been in front of Scotland, and Scotland showing a good shape again defensively, playing a reasonably high line, taking the 5 at the back. It's going to be difficult to break them down.
Scotland haven't conceded a competitive goal from open play since they went behind in Yerevan last June. The only competitive goal that's gone in against them since then was that Haaland penalty on Saturday. It is Kirkhelia switching the play out to this left-hand side for Diwali. Short ball just to the left of the centre circle for Kitishvili. Big switch of play out to that far side for Kakabadze. Infield it comes to Ferker-Skiri, and then out to the right it goes, but the flag's gone up, offside. Just beyond the half-hour mark. And Steve Clarke's got to be pretty content with the way this is going.
Well, it's good defending again. The line is straight, but it's high. You're talking 30 yards out there, perhaps.
Foul by McGinn. He's just booted the ball away. He's going to go into the book, I think, for that.
He's doing the old I didn't hear the whistle.
Yeah. He's got away with it.
He has. Well played, John.
He was booked at the weekend. It was John McGinn.
I'm probably
that was harsh. Do you think?
I don't know. He was a wee bit late, wasn't he? Or was it the Christie one I was thinking of?
I think the McGinn
maybe more
yellow
of a
card was harsh.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, he got away with one there, that's for sure.
As I said on Saturday, thank goodness UEFA changed the rules, because previously it was 2 yellows and you would be suspended for the subsequent match. Now 3. Bring it in line with the club competitions, which were always shorter campaigns. It was a bit of an anomaly. Here's Kitishvili meantime for Georgia, looking to get them going. It's out to Lobjanidze over on the right-hand side level with the penalty spot. The cross comes in, headed away by Tierney. Picked up by Robertson, left-hand side of his own box. And he sweeps it clear. Chested down there by Gagnidze. And Scotland with Lyndon Dykes back doing some terrific defensive work over in the left back position. I mean, they've got world-class left backs out there, but why not have someone else? All hands to the pump. 32 in the clock. Scotland 1, Georgia 0.
Well, that's what's good about him, isn't it? I mean, his work rate's so good. He'll fill in when he sees things and players maybe are out of position. He'll track runs, he'll drop deep, he'll do a number of jobs for you.
He scores the odd goal as well.
Aye, that helps.
Throw-ins up the line for Dykes. Headed out for another Scotland throw-in. This time they've advanced up to around about the halfway line. Tierney thought about the long throw. He decides against it. He's looking for some movement in navy blue. Gets some from Gilmore, but he's still biding his time. Up the line it goes towards Dykes, who flicks it on, and it comes off the defender Gagnidze and out for a Scotland throw, and Robertson takes it quickly to McGregor, to Robertson, back to Tierney infield to Gilmore, then to Tierney, stepping away from Lobjanidze. Down the left hand side it goes again. Robertson, the cross comes in, it bounces right across the 6-yard line where nobody can make contact, and it's out to this near side where Mctominay's kept it in play, up against Diwali, keeping the pressure on, looking to see if he can either pinch it back or win a corner. He's eventually won the corner. Really good tenacity there by Scott McTominay. 33.5 played. Scotland 1, Georgia 0. Scotland corner.
That left-hand side is so potent, isn't it? And that's another great cross into the box. And John McGinn right up there with Lyndon Dykes, maybe getting in each other's road, perhaps. I mean, they're like twins there going for that near post. Maybe a little bit more of an understanding would have helped.
Played back to Hickey, who finds Robertson, clips it first time, switching it back out wide right to McGinn, who finds Callum McGregor at the byline, chips it to the near post, headed away. There were a couple in Scotland colours behind the defender on the near post looking to get something on it, as Billy Gilmore picks up on the near side, and he can only put it out for a throw-in to Georgia on the Georgia left.
I just wonder, I mean, I thought he would have passed that back to Angus Gunn, but whether...
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah,
whether or not Steve Clarke said to him, don't, you know, if you can avoid it, don't do pass backs in case it gets stuck and caught.
Yeah, don't take any chances, but you know when the crowd loves you, when you should keep possession and you actually play it out for a throw into the opposition and they still cheer you.
Aye. Kvaratskhelia thought he saw Angus Gunn off his line and then a go from distance, but he was well off target. Scotland come forward. Hickey's overhit the pass for Mctominay, and this time it does go behind. I was waiting to see a goal kick, but a free kick will be given for a foul by Mctominay. And it's a Georgia free kick, as good as a goal kick inside their own penalty area. A reminder, it finished 3-1 to Norway at the Ullevål in Oslo tonight against Cyprus. And the TV pictures in front of us confirming that an almost cloudless sky from the angle they had there. There's still plenty cloud, but there's plenty clear sky up there as well. I think we can say that the rain is going to hold off for us for the rest of the night. 35 minutes, so less than 10 now until half-time. There'll be a throw into Scotland, meantime, level with the edge of the centre circle, right in front of Steve Clarke down below us. And Ryan Porteous over it. Again playing at the right of that defensive triumvirate for the Scots. Bowls it forward, it comes bouncing back off a Georgian head. It was Cavalli. Scotland pick up wide on the left. Andy Robertson charging forward. Here's Robertson, he's done really well. Can he get there before it goes behind? Not quite. Good attempt though, and it stays 1-0 to Scotland.
You can hear the crowd getting a lift when he picks the ball up, Willie, can't you? Because he's just been so positive every time he gets it, driving at them, trying to commit players, trying to get to that byline, make things happen, and it lifts this Hampden crowd.
It does, and it frightens defenders as well when you see him, you know, being as positive as that. The first touch, brilliant, but then really determined to try to hit the byline. And you know, so far he's put in 3 very good crosses, and unfortunate there that he didn't catch that one, just hit it a little bit too hard.
Georgia in possession with Kakabadze in field to Kirkhelia, now picked up by the deep line midfielder Kwerkasvili. Given away though, and now it is Dykes charging forward. Gilmour for support on the left hand side of the box. Can he just overhit it? Gilmour's won it back up the defender though, scoops it in, and the goalkeeper goes up, Mamardashvili, to hold on in the 6-yard line, with Dykes waiting to head it into an empty net behind him, and it will remain at 1-0 on 37.
Although Gilmour's playing the deeper of the midfield, a couple of occasions there he's had licence to go forward, and you know, he got himself in a real good position there and won it uninspectedly, I would suggest, and then he's got the knowledge and the skill and the belief just to dink it towards the back post. A little bit unlucky not to get something off that.
Here's Porteous, he picks up midway inside his own half, but his pass to Hickey goes out for a throw in the near side. Steve Clarke clapping an encouragement at Ryan Porteous, just making sure he's not affected by that loose one. He's had a couple of those tonight. Difficult underfoot conditions quite clearly though.
I'm just watching the back five, the Scotland back five. It's a definite back five, but it's such a high line that it just compresses the whole game, and you know, the Georgians are finding it really difficult to pick up space in front of them.
Maybe get some thoughts from Craig Levine at the next stoppage in play. 38 on the clock just now, just to see how he's feeling about things. We've got Leanne here as well. I'll go to Craig first and then we'll get Leanne the next interval, probably early in the second half. But it's Georgia in possession, looking to make inroads down the right hand side with Kitishvili. He's a good player, just turning it in field to Mctominay, and back out wide right for Kakabadze to Lobjedidze. Plays the 1-2 and it comes back to Lobjedidze, and then flicked back towards the halfway line. Scotland are again, they're holding their positions really well defensively, and Georgia have to come again, and the offside flag's gone up over there, and now we will bring Craig Levine in as we tick towards 39 minutes. Craig, Scotland with that lead given to them by Callum McGregor more than 2 hours ago. We're approaching half-time in the next 6 minutes or so plus stoppages. What are you making of it?
Yeah, I think there's aspects of it been excellent. I think that left side of the pitch is working excellently again. Tierney's advancing like he did previously, but Robertson again has been absolutely superb in this first half, and we could probably take a lesson from that down this right hand side. I think Hickey's been too safe. You know, he's the one for me. McTominay's in front of him and making the runs into out, and I think that Hickey's the one who should actually be putting the ball in the box and putting it in early, and he's playing too safe.
Good turn by John McGinn going towards the Georgia box. A couple of defenders get back at him, but he's able to turn away from goal. Turns it to Tierney, to the left of the D to McGregor. McGregor scampering out to that left hand side. Finds Robertson. Robertson back to McGregor. McGregor turns it back to Tierney. Flicks it to the edge of the 6-yard box for McGinn, whose header was a yard or so wide of the left-hand post. Did well to beat the defender to it there, did John McGinn. And it stays Scotland 1, Georgia 0. We're into the final 5 minutes of the regulation 45.
It's a lovely passage of play out in that left-hand side again. No surprise, but this time Callum McGregor spots the cutback, plays it in, the cross comes in, and it was a really difficult header for John, slightly behind him with not a lot of pace in the ball. Well, he had to generate that himself, couldn't really get it on target. Had the goalkeeper scrambling, but the football and the build-up to it was excellent.
Yeah, again, left-hand side, really positive, and I thought John McGinn did as good as he possibly could with that cross.
It's a chance again for Scotland. It's in the box, McGinn's there, and he makes a hash of it with the left foot. He was trying to pass it into the bottom left after the Georgians had given away a really cheap throw-in on the far side. Scotland took it quickly, but McGinn, he saw the splash of water as he tried to hit it.
You've got to put that down to the surface.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's not something that you would see somebody of that quality do. It's like a total miss-hit, so it must have just tugged up in the grass before he hit it. It was a huge opportunity though.
You could see the huge splash of water as well, couldn't you? Here's Porteous forward to McGinn. Back to Porteous. Out to Hickey on this near side. And back to Ryan Porteous again. Can Scotland find a second goal? It might just end all kinds of belief in the Georgian ranks. McGinn goes down, no free kick though. Picked up here by Mctominay. Look at it, slip it out to the right hand side for Lobzanidze, but again the pass is overhit and Scotland have a throw in over there, taken by Tierney to Robertson. The Georgians' best chance came in those 6 minutes that were played early on as well. Lobzanidze fired one just wide. Here they come again. Mctominay comes deep to get onto it. Rolls it back the way to Kitishvili. Out to the right for Kakabadze. Picked up again in the midfield by Georgia with Kirk Verskiri. He goes back into his own half for Kasia. He used to go back to his goalkeeper. Job done again for Scotland. Another Georgian attack repelled. And eventually it's Gagnidze going back to his goalkeeper. Left foot clip ball out wide right. A dangerous looking one. The Georgians managed to get the chest on it, Kakabadze, but Scotland have it back, and it's McGinn to Dykes. McGinn just outside the Georgia penalty area, squares it to Callum McGregor, looks up at the goal, turns it to the left hand side for McTominay on the right foot. Oh, the keeper's touched that, I think, and got it behind for the corner. Brilliant save there. It really was by Mamardashvili, because Scott McTominay must have thought he'd doubled the Scots lead. It stays at 1-0.
Yeah, it's going on at the back post, isn't it? It's a magnificent save. He does everything right, gets it onto his right foot there, takes two defenders out the game completely. He's picked his spot. It's going into the back of the net. Magnificent touch round the post.
That was an incredible save. Real fingertip stuff.
In comes the corner into the 6-yard area. Comes off a visiting head. Comes to Hickey. Back out to McGinn, who took the corner into the back post. What a ball! And then behind for another corner at the back stick as Tierney attacked it. Scotland finishing the first half strongly here.
His delivery's been excellent all evening. The first goal obviously comes from a John McGinn corner, but that one there was especially good. It had so much whip on it coming into the back post. Tierney was there, and they had no option other than to turn it round for another corner.
McTominay's going to take. The referee's not happy with something in the box. Manically blowing his whistle, the Hungarian official, and he's talking to Jack Hendry and the goalkeeper, and eventually he's going to back to have another go at them. He's not happy with what's going on between Henry and the keeper.
What's the odds
line.
on a free kick here?
Yeah, normally what happens. In from Mctominay towards the back post, and then it comes off Porteous' head and behind for the goal kick. For the Georgians, we're in the 45th minute. For a long old time earlier on, it didn't look like we would see this stage of the match, but there you go. Scotland leading Georgia by 1-0, 10 past 10 just about local time in the evening, and half time approaching.
And dominating the game, dominating the first half, no doubt about it. They've got the goal, then the break, and then the John McGinn opportunity, where definitely it was the conditions out there underfoot that stopped him finishing it. And then the Scott McTominay effort there, magnificent save.
Yeah, brilliant from Dykes, and now McGinn's onto it towards the Georgia box. Cuts away from the defender, looks for goal, left-footed, deflected, corner. And another chance will come. Brilliant play by Dykes, and then from John McGinn. Outstanding link-up play.
Yeah, Scotland are playing well. Dykes wins the header, but then John gets onto the flick on, cuts inside. He hits a really, really powerful shot that I can tell you right now is going in, and it comes off the defender's back and goes out for a corner.
4 minutes been added. There's your time between 6 and 9.5, which is when the referee restarted the clock after the match was suspended. In from John McGinn. It's deep again, headed up into the air, more height than distance. McTominay gets something onto it, and it's dangerous play by Ryan Porteous as he had the high boot up, trying to make contact on it. It was never going to fall for him there, though, unfortunately. But in the first of those 4 minutes of injury time, or stoppage time, and it's Scotland 1, Georgia 0.
You kind of forget that we're 1-0 up at times, don't you, because it was so long ago. But I think the performance level has been really good. We don't need to force things too much. As we said about 10-15 minutes ago, this Georgian side haven't managed to create anything yet.
It's a little sharp pull by Gilmour, though. The referee's allowing a little advantage. And it's picked up here on this near side by Kvaratskhelia. Left of the Scotland box, shows too much of it to Gilmour, and it was out of play. The throw in, he's been warned for the sharp pull. The referee allowed the Georgians an attacking advantage. He's lucky he wasn't booked for that.
Yep.
Diwali back to Kashia. Steps away from Dykes. To Diwali again. Forward it comes. Lovely pushing ball by Mctominay out to the left hand side. A chance potentially for the Georgians here with Kitishvili. Back to Kvaratskhelia. And then rolled under the right boot there by Kirkerskiri, and it's blocked, and it pings out for a throw in on this near side to Georgia. Scotland just trying to get now to half time with their lead intact, as Georgia look to try and find an equaliser before the half time interval. It's about halfway through the stoppage time. Tierney wins the header wide on the left. Robertson has it in his stride into the Georgia half. Forward to McTominay. Just tried to shift it away from the defender. It bounced off. I think it was Kirkvalia in the end. Now it's back out to Kvaratskhelia on this left-hand side, taking on Hickey. Dropping onto the right, then back onto the left. Kvaratskhelia, he's inside the Scotland box. This is where he's dangerous. Now he has it to the byline, dinks it back towards the 6-yard area. Really important header away there. I think it was Tierney who got his head onto it, and it breaks John McGinn's way in this near side, and he fires it away as it comes off the arm, surely, of Cassia. It's gone out for a throw-in to Scotland unless the ref spotted it. And I think it's a throw-in only.
The linesman's got to spot it. He's 2 feet from it. Yeah, Kvaratskhelia needs to stop panicking when he's in those tight situations, Willie?
He's looking for the nutmeg as well, isn't he? Get himself to the byline, and then when he does get to the byline, the little kind of a dig cross, that goes into a dangerous area. I think it is Tierney that picks up the header and just clears the danger.
He's one of the best players in the world right now. He's Vicha Kvaratskhelia, and then Porteous has just booted the ball off him down below us, and the referee had given a free kick just before that. Kvaratskhelia is having a go at the fourth official.
Yeah.
He wants action taken against Ryan Porteous. It's going to be a yellow card for Aaron Hickey for the challenge just in the previous phase.
I think Hickey was late, in all honesty, but I think there was a wee bit of theatrics as well. He stands on the top of his foot. It's going to be a sore one, that, actually.
But Porteous doesn't have to do that. I mean, he could have got a yellow card for battering the ball, at an opponent.
He's got it
creeps into his game. It creeps into his game.
Beg your pardon, it was Kirkerskiri who Hickey trod on. Well into the final minute that was added in stoppages. Georgia pick up down that right hand side with Kakabadze. Infield to Mctominay. Back out to the right hand side. Chip ball forward, and the chase is on for Mctominay. Tierney gets there first, but he puts it out for a throw in on the far side. But that is half time, I think, here at the National Stadium, is it? He blew the whistle, certainly. No, not quite.
No.
Yes, it is. He was just teasing us. Just like just before half time in Oslo on Saturday, when the Scotland attack was stopped for the half time whistle. Georgia were on the attack this time, so that'll do for the first half, which lasted almost 2.5 hours. Callum McGregor giving Scotland the lead on 6 minutes with his third international goal. The goalkeeper perhaps will feel he should have done better with it, though. And they've had another opportunity in the first half, and it was an excellent save that resulted in it going behind for the corner rather than the goal. Mamardashvili got down low to keep out McTominay's effort. It's kind of shaped similarly to Kenny McLean's winner in Norway on Saturday. Corner only. Scotland have dominated much of the first half, and as things stand, they will be beginning a qualification campaign with 4 successive victories for the very first time. Still a lot of work to do, though, but at half-time, after the most elongated of first halves, it is Scotland 1, Georgia 0.
Scotland in the Euro 2024 qualifiers.
Live on Sports Sound.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
Mornings with Kay Adams Monday to Wednesday and Stephen Jardine on a Thursday and Friday.
We're on radio talking about this morning, so it's a problem.
Join the conversation.
I've gone into the degree course in fine art.
Ian in Barhead, any advice for Sue in Shetland?
Just do what you enjoy.
Your calls and your stories.
The surgeon did say to me, everybody that ends up getting a stoma bag, they never want to get rid of it. That's the effect it's had on me.
The 100 kilo was just in the form of standard weight plates that you would get at a gym.
You went up Ben Nevis carrying that?
Yeah.
Mornings across Scotland, weekdays from 9.
Listen on BBC Sounds or play BBC Radio Scotland.
Well, it really has been quite an evening, but with 45 minutes officially having been played, Scotland are halfway towards making it 4 wins out of 4 to start their qualifying for Euro 2024. Scotland, of course, in Group A, and that early goal from Callum McGregor in the 6th minute. That was a long time ago. That went in somewhere about 7:52. And we're now at 10:15 and have only just reached half-time. It's been that kind of night. There was so much going on earlier on. But eventually they did manage to get this game up and running. Been getting various bits of information from downstairs, and the feeling, certainly from Scotland, is that the referee and his team were very good indeed. They were strong down there. Certainly in the closing stages of that long hiatus, Georgia did not want to play. They were making it absolutely clear they did not want to play. Steve Clarke and his players, of course, did want to see the game out. I'm told they got a bit tetchy at times down in the tunnel area, and because I think we saw on the screen actually Ian Maxwell, the chief executive, he was down trying to help, and I know that all at the SFA were so delighted with the work done by the ball kids, the volunteers who went out there and helped to try to clear the pitch. The bottom line is we've got a half-time, and there seems no reason why this game will not now conclude. And just to confirm, the alternative would have been back here. Had the referee called it off, it would have been back here tomorrow at Hampden Park, which would have been an absolute logistical nightmare. Thankfully it didn't come to that. Thankfully this game is going ahead, and at the halfway midway point it is 1-0 for Scotland. Yeah, and let's talk about the football. It's kind of difficult piecing together those opening 9 minutes and the 40 odd with the stoppage time that eventually brought a halt to it. But what have you made of it?
Was that to me, Richard?
Yeah, Leanne, yes.
No, sorry, I didn't pick you up at the start. I thought it has actually been a decent half of football, considering the circumstances. I thought Scotland probably looked a bit shaky in the first couple of minutes. Georgia certainly had a quick start. Then I thought Scotland took almost full control of the half. it was pretty transitional at certain moments. I think just as the players got to grips with the pitch, and I know the guys in commentary spoke about the weight of the pass and trying to put a wee bit more on it at times, and a couple of moments it was under hit and it just didn't move properly. But I think down the left hand side again, Andy Robertson's been excellent. I think the link up play with himself and Kieran Tierney, I think the outball that Lyndon Dykes offers at times is exceptional. He almost starts so far away that he looks like he's never going to be close enough to get to it, but a couple of times he's worked it really, really well. John McGinn looks a different player as well from Saturday. When you get him closer to Lyndon Dykes, he looks a real threat. They're an absolute handful when they get going, and the reality is Scotland probably could be 2 or 3 goals up at this stage of the game. The one that drops for John McGinn is down to the pitch. I think he's trying to anticipate it, probably forgets the conditions for a second, not realising that it's potentially going to hold up. I think he could have adjusted his feet a bit quicker to get the shot off. And there's been another couple of brilliant deliveries from the left hand side from Robertson that on another night we might have got on the end of it. And I actually think for that first half of football we've been shooting down to the right hand side. We've spoke about that goal mouth, it is really tricky, and I've got huge hopes that for the second half actually getting down to the left hand side there'll be a bit more optimism about that final third and the quality that Scotland can find in it. So overall I think a really good, strong first half performance.
Craig Levine, it's been the longest first half you've watched, I would think, in your entire career.
It has been a bit bizarre, hasn't it? But no, I've thoroughly enjoyed the game once it got back underway, and to pretty much reiterate a lot of things that Leanne has spoken about. I do think that the shape in the midfield is working quite well. It's almost like a diamond that can shift very quickly into a box, and Billy Gilmore quite often, when it's a diamond, he's the one who's deepest. I think he's having a fantastic match, I really do. I think his defensive play has been excellent, but his link-up play and his calmness under pressure is fantastic. You know, and sometimes I feel like when he's playing, that he seems to knit everything together in front of him. So, you know, that's been quite encouraging. Lyndon Dykes has been Lyndon Dykes. He's worked extremely hard. I think John McGinn has had a much better match than he did at the weekend, and he was very, very unlucky on 2 occasions. The shot from distance, or I say distance, so the one that was furthest out was definitely heading into the top corner, and you know, that block that the defender got in, I think has saved the goal for sure. I also think he was extremely unlucky when the ball just, you know, stuck in the water just for a second, enough for him to just catch the top of the ball rather than strike through it. He's been very unfortunate, and I think in general Callum McGregor's had a really good game. You wouldn't know that these lads had played in extreme heat at the weekend there, and they're turned up and they don't look as if they're any of them tired in the slightest, whether mentally or physically. So yeah, I've been really pleased. I think the right hand side can do a little bit better. I think Hickey can be more adventurous, take more risks, put balls into the box when the opportunity arises. But you know, overall his defensive play has been good. Yeah, and I'm pretty pleased actually with the way things have panned out up until this minute in time. Let's hope we can push on and get a goal in the early part of the second half and make things a little bit more comfortable.
I mean, you do have to, Tom, when you consider the amount of conversation that we all had for many hours earlier in the evening. There is a game of football going on here, and you can keep needing to almost remind yourself of that and the importance of it. And the next 45 minutes are going to be absolutely crucial for this team.
Massive, yeah. And like, you know, I take the headphones off, and it's quiet in the stadium. You know, it's almost like everyone's just so soaked or tired or whatever. It's quiet, but this is a massive game. And if Scotland win it, they're as good as in Germany. You know, so we're talking high stakes here. I think Scotland have been excellent. I think their attitude, their edge has been really good. They've created chances. They've been on the front foot. They've given Georgia very little. 1-0 up. It could be 2. Easily it could be 2. Keeper's made a great save from Mctominay. I really like the energy in the Scotland team. Gilmore, I think, is having a lovely game. He's broken up a couple of attacks and very quick feet, setting a Robertson away on one occasion, going himself on another occasion. He hasn't played a massive amount of football. He would have a right to be lacking in confidence. albeit he finished the season with Brighton in the starting lineup. He hasn't played masses of football. He looks terrific. McGinn looks excellent. Mctominay looks hungry. Robertson has been outstanding on the left side.
You're spot on, Tom, about Gilmour. The way that Gilmour works actually out of possession and the distance that he covers, he's so quick over that 5 and 10 yards. There's no other player in the pitch for me that presses and covers those short distances the way that Billy Gilmour does, and it's fantastic because he's always there, he's always in and around you, even in moments when Georgia have maybe got the turnover and they've looked to get that next pass. Billy Gilmour almost moves at times as quick as the ball does over that 10 yards, and he's there again to go and press, and by that time it allows an opportunity for whether it's a McGregor or a McGinn or a Mctominay to double up with them, and they've had real success from that in those turnovers.
Scotland lead by 1-0. Callum McGregor scored in the 6th minute. If you weren't with us earlier, there's been all sorts going on here. It looked for a long time that the match would not take place. I mean, the work that was going on to try to clear the pitch was incredible. There were so many false starts, the referee was out, so many passing inspections. He didn't put any great effort into one or two of them, but essentially we got to the point where we did finally get the match kicked off, and we're halfway through and Scotland have the advantage. I'm assuming that Tom has now seen one of the many memes that has been doing the rounds.
We're having to explain it to him though, Richard. The joke's wasted on him. It's like the technology earlier on when he couldn't get logged into the Wi-Fi. It's just at the moment's gone. By the time he gets it, the moment's gone.
Somebody called me Grandpa earlier on. I mean,
Tom, I'm in your camp here.
just give us a break, will you? It took a little bit of time to see that the Callum McGregor image has been made to age him to about 50 years of age, but you know, getting grief here from my colleagues. They're obviously a bit tired and emotional.
We do have information. ScotRail are putting on extra trains until midnight. These will not appear in the app, so if you do have friends, family, loved ones who are at the game, you can perhaps text them. You can let them know that there will be additional trains on until midnight, but there'll be none after midnight. But Liam was actually pointing out to me, he's noticed, and it looks like quite a few Scotland fans are leaving. I mean, we're now at the stage where this game should have finished about 45, 50 minutes ago, depending on how much stoppage time there was. So this is the kind of time when a lot of people would have been having to get their transport, the buses, the trains home. So it's going to be probably a smaller crowd as we move through the second 45 minutes. I mean, it might be, I suppose, that some have just simply gone to the kiosk and you can see 1 or 2 milling out there, but it's going to be no surprise at all if more and more fans disappear as the second half goes on. I guess they'll be checking online to try and find out the situation regarding trains. But ScotRail are doing what they can. They have put extra trains on until midnight, so you can let your friends, family, whoever is at the game, you can let them know that that is indeed going to be the case. Scotland lead. Norway won, of course, by 3-1 earlier against Cyprus. There were 2 goals there for Erling Haaland. So as it stands, of course, in the live table, if you like, Scotland would be on 9 points. Georgia and Norway would both be on 4. Spain on 3. And Cyprus without a point in the group so far. And Scotland, of course, would have played 4 games. Norway would have played 4 games, or have played 4 games as well. It is a very, very important 45 minutes ahead. The players will start making their way back out again shortly. And they've continued, incidentally, I mean, we're seeing some of the shots from earlier on. This was in the 6 minutes of active play that went on. I mean, there were players sliding about in huge puddles. It was incredible. It is so much better now. I've got to say, the ground staff with limited resources did one hell of a job getting that pitch to the point where they've got it now. They have been helped, thankfully. They have been helped as the rain has gone off and that there was no further addition They just pressed a message up there, just warning fans, saying that there will be trades until 23:58, they said. But just letting fans know that that is a situation. There will be nothing beyond that, so fans should make sure that they do take whatever precautions to ensure that they are able to get their transport home. The referee and his assistants are, well, they're back down, they're keen, they're ready. As you can see, the Scotland players just emerging from the home dressing room down below them, and the Georgia players, yeah, they're just starting to file out as well. So it has been a long evening to get here, but we're finally about to witness the remaining 45 minutes of this 2022-23 campaign. And after everything that has happened and all the madness that has gone on throughout the whole season, it has been topped off in appropriate fashion, probably, by what we have witnessed so far tonight. We came on air at 6, here we are 4.5 hours later, still got 45 minutes of football to go, and it's about to kick off. Scotland leading Georgia by 1-0. Back to Willie Miller, Stephen Thompson and Liam McLeod.
Thanks, Richard. It's actually overhead, perfect conditions at this point for this game. The 5th meeting between the nations, 2 home wins apiece. First met in the Euro 2008 qualifying campaign, Craig Beattie scoring a very late winner for Ali McLeish in his first game in charge of his first short spell, and after Boyd and Arveladze had traded goals. The return into Tbilisi later that year proved massively costly, as it did in the Euro 2016 qualifiers, where they lost to the Georgian capital again. The Georgians get the second half underway in their white with red flashes. Left to right they will shoot towards the east end of the stadium, with Scotland all in navy blue. No changes for either team at the start of the second half. Gunn in goal for the Scots, Porteous, Henry, Tierney, Hickey and Robertson are wide, McGregor, Gilmour, McGinn and Mctominay and Dykes. That goes out for a throw-in on this near side to the visitors. So the Scots leading 1-0 as it stands, moving on to 12 points in the group. The next best is 4 points. What a position to be in should they see this through. A lot of work to be getting on with between now and then, though. Gilmour wins the header in the midfield, looking for Mctominay. It's headed forward by Gagnidze. Makes out to this near side for Kakabadze down the right, but Lobzhanidze's offside.
Loves an offside, does Lobzhanidze. It's about the 5th one in the game.
Yeah, Scotland free kick. And Tierney takes it, sweeps it to Porteous. Walking pace from Ryan Porteous. He's got Gilmour. And he can also go back to Hendry, which he does. Jack Hendry's had an interesting season, spent the first half of it in Italy with Cremonese. Back at his parent club, Club Bruges, as the long ball finds Robertson. Not a great touch, but it might break McTominay's way. It does! Goal! Scott McTominay does it yet again! Another glory goal for the Manchester United midfielder. And how important is he becoming for his national team? Another magical moment in this incredible start to Euro 2024 qualifying for Scotland. History beckons for Steve Clarke's men. They are not just leading this group at this point, they are romping to Germany. It is Scotland 2, Georgia 0. It is there for the taking.
Oh, it's sensational. I mean, he's become a goal machine, Scott McTominay. It's such a tight angle that he's got to find. He takes a touch, he's sliding for it. The cross comes in along the ground from Andy Robertson. And it's that instinct that he throws that left foot out at it, and it just finds that little gap to put it by the goalkeeper into the back of the net. Quite sensational goal.
His first touch was absolutely immaculate. To take that lighter touch of the ball when it was coming up so quickly in these conditions that set him up to be able to hit the shot, and then you're right, he finds the slightest of gaps to poke it into that bottom corner. A brilliant finish from him. And again, Robertson involved heavily down the left.
He's done so well. A controlled finish into the bottom left corner of the net, and this is putting the Scots in the most wonderful of positions Let's get Leanne Crichton's take on that goal there. Her and Craig Levine watching to my left.
Absolutely brilliant, Liam. Outstanding, and it comes for that left-hand side again. It's been so deadly for us. Andy Robertson's in fine form, but the understanding and the link-up play between himself and Kieran Tierney, the timing of the run. Of course, the touch from Robertson isn't perfect, but McTominay's doing what McTominay has been doing, anticipating really well in recent games, picks up those second balls, and as Willie said, such an instinctive finish, just with the left foot, calm and composed, and the keeper had absolutely no chance. It's a brilliant start from the team.
Well, the group of Morata, the group of Haaland, it's the group of McTominay. It's his 5th goal in this qualifying campaign. He's up to 6 for his country. Here come Georgia with Mkhitaryan though. And you just feel they're so far back now, the Georgians, but they're looking to respond immediately here. Down this right-hand side with Kakabadze, level with the Scotland 6-yard line. Into the box he goes, passes it back the way to Gagnidze. Towards the edge of the D, McTominay wins it back, and now he's got it into his stride. Got the break of the ball, charging forward is Scott McTominay. Rolls it to his left for Dykes. Dykes now attacking the Georgia penalty area. Rolls it back onto his left side, he should have kept going. But McGregor picks up the scraps, the attack's not done yet. Tierney, first time to Callum McGregor. Out to the left for Robertson, keeps it in play. Level with the Georgian penalty spot. He rolls it back to McGregor. He rolls it infield to Gilmore. And now back with Tierney. Scotland looking to kill the game. It isn't already done. Robertson back to Gilmore. And he just dinks it back into his own half. I mean, the Scotland fans must be in complete disbelief at the position they occupy themselves in this group. I mean, it's the stuff of dreams. It really is.
It is, but it actually doesn't come as that much of a surprise to you, the result and the performance tonight, given what we've already seen in this group and over the last year, and as this squad continues to evolve. And some of the football they've played over the course of this group has been absolutely stunning, and tonight's been a big performance, because on Saturday the performance wasn't there, but we got the result. You're not getting away with that too many times in international football, but tonight they've fully merited being 2-0 up.
As Tierney's overhit the ball, long ball out to Robertson on the near side. It goes out for a throw-in to Georgia, and it will be taken by Kakabadze, level with the edge of the centre circle in his own half. Thumbs up from Steve Clark down there. Loving what he's seeing from his players. They've never won the first 4 matches in a qualifying group, ever. And you consider some of the superstars that the Scotland national team has had, perhaps 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, into the 90s. None of those teams managed it.
There you go, Willie.
Long ball, Tierney looking for Dykes, and he goes out for a throw-in on this near side to Scotland. And it just underlines how well this group of players have been doing, quite frankly. If anything, it's a compliment.
No, absolutely. I think the challenge is there, isn't it, to qualify for the Euros, but to do it in style and to start the campaign the way they've started. I mean, Spain here was something exhilarating. You're now seeing a little bit of fortune, but that belief against Norway, and now they've turned it into a performance tonight in a very, very good Georgian side that really haven't done anything against them whatsoever. And in fact, 2-0, it could easily have been 4.
And what excites me is who we're playing next.
Well, there's away to Cyprus next. Okay. And as I said, 15 points is generally enough in a 5-team group to see you finish in the top 2. And if Scotland win this one, and they're in a great position to do so, and beat Cyprus, there's your 15 points. Here's McTominay. Just managed to wriggle away from Gagnidze, but the touch was too heavy, and Georgia win it back over on the far side. McGinn putting the pressure on, as was Hickey, goes down. Free kick Scotland, that'll do. We put 52, 2-0 to the home team.
Again, I mean, as much as we're playing entertaining football, the fans are right behind us. You know, we're moving the ball quickly, we're working ever so hard off the ball. We're also really negating this Georgian side from looking as though we can do anything creatively.
And here they come again, McTominay down the right-hand side, level with the penalty spot. Holds the ball up, finds Hickey, just couldn't quite get the touch onto it. McGregor trying to keep it alive for Scotland down there. He's not able to keep the ball in play. It's a Georgia goal kick. Scotland 2, Georgia 0.
Yeah, just need that right side to start working a wee bit like that. You know, Hickey getting forward, being a little bit more determined to make strides to get forward and be creative, because the left side, as we've been talking about all night, has been absolutely magnificent, and just to get a little bit more from the right side, I think would be something that I'm sure Steve Clark would be looking for.
Long ball for Georgia. Andy Robertson should be underneath it. He is. His cushion header finds Gilmore. It just evades him. He's trying to keep it in place. Done brilliantly. How on earth did he manage that? It ends up on the halfway line and back with Kyrgielia for Georgia, and picked up by Gagnidze in the centre circle. Hickey battling for it, but so too is Kvaratskhelia, and he's now driving towards the edge of the penalty area. He's found Mctominay on the left foot. He thought about the shot, and instead he plays it to his right, and it breaks to Andy Robertson instead. And now it's Gilmore into the feet of Dykes, who goes down. He was fouled, and that will be a free kick to the Scots. Just when it dropped to Kvaratskhelia, he was doing his usual thing. He was going on the left, chopping onto the right. You don't know which way he's going to go. You did worry, because he's been kept pretty quiet.
He has
so far tonight.
Absolutely has. I thought he could have maybe tried to get a shot away, lose it out to his right hand side.
He's like a slalom skier, isn't he?
Yeah, he's changed of direction, and his centre of gravity are wonderful. No wonder he was compared to Maradona. I don't think he's quite there yet, right enough.
And given the vociferous nature of the Napoli support, I'm sure they don't nickname him after the great man lightly. Icha Kvaratskhelia. It looks as though Willie Samuel's going to make a double change in just a moment for the visitors. Scotland leading 2-0 on 54.5. Low ball forward to Mctominay, back onto the halfway line for Hickey, over on that right hand side. So Mctominay again into the feet of Dykes, out to the right for Hickey. He's got runners ahead of him. One of them's McGinn. McGinn's got Mctominay waiting, but the pass was a little bit too early and off target, and it's back with Georgia, with Kvaratskhelia, who gets it clear down that far side. Porteous has found himself in central midfield for some reason. He's gone down looking for a free kick that's not coming. He's managed to poke it to Callum McGregor. He's done really well. Here comes Callum McGregor. Little disguised ball. It breaks back to him, and he fires it wide. He's annoyed with himself as he punches the fresh air. It stays Scotland 2, Georgia 0 on 55.
He is. He's just seeing that nestle in the back of the net. It's a real cute pass initially that he's trying to set Dykes up with. But it comes back to him, and you know, he's just trying to curl it. It does go quite a bit wide. We're seeing a replay. It looked a little bit closer.
He just didn't get his foot around it. Yeah. He's got it a bit too flush. But I mean, the initial play to drive into the space, and then you're right, that reverse pass was inches away from coming off. The sort of thing you see him doing with Celtic all the time. When it ricochets back to him, the side foot curl into the bottom corner's on, but he just catches it a bit straight.
It's getting better down the right hand side though, isn't it? Hickey's coming more and more into the game. You know, maybe he does need Porteous to be a little bit more positive down that side to give him, you know, a little bit of help as well. But you know, he's got himself into some good positions, and you know, started good moves down the right hand side, which has been needed.
Double change has been made by the Georgians. They've taken off Diwali and they've taken off Kvaratskhelia, and they've brought on Budu Zivzivadze, who plays in the German second tier. There's a chance for Mctominay to the edge of the box. Scotland have the numbers back, and they've done really well. And it's with Callum McGregor back to the edge of his own box for Tierney, out to Robertson, and he wins the throw-in as well. 56.5 on the clock. Scotland 2, Georgia 0. There was a good number of Scotland supporters, I noticed, when I nicked to the back of the south stand. You can see out onto the back of the stadium. There was a lot of them heading for the exits, and you feel for them because they will have transport to catch. They won't have accommodation in Glasgow, so they had to leave at half-time in the game. So if you're with us, we'll try and keep you as informed as possible. Scotland leading 2-0. We approach 57. Robertson finds Mctominay. He's got into stride again up towards the edge of the penalty area. He shoots for goal. He's just wide of the right-hand post. Needs support from Dykes, McGinn and Hickey. Went himself. Why not? It stays 2-0.
Well, he's got to be full of confidence, isn't he? And you can see that from the first touch that he made. And when he drives with the ball, he's just so powerful. Shakes off one or two challenges. Couldn't quite get his balance to get anything real in the shot on target, but again, very positive play from him. He's had a smashing match.
Yeah. You've got to allow him to take that one on, haven't you? You know, he maybe could have played it in to Dykes, but when you get an opportunity like that and you're just a goal scoring machine, you just want to add to it. Not that I've ever had that feeling.
Not even in your young days when you played up front.
Oh, that's different.
Here's Kieran Tierney. to Gilmour on the halfway line, rolls it low out to Robertson on this left-hand side, level the edge of the centre circle in the Georgia half. It's Gilmour to McGregor, out wide left from Robertson, taking on his man, looking to get to the byline. He does get there. He was charged to the ground. The ball's still in play. How's that not a free kick?
Well, I can't answer that question because it looked as though he was just taking out the game completely down at the byline, but the referee allowing play to continue.
It's incredible.
It's just
decision.
what it was on the pitch. If it's anybody else on the pitch, it's a free kick. It's because they're both kind of sliding to keep the ball in. No doubt it was a free kick, but I think it's purely to do with where it happened.
Georgia have come up the park immediately from there. Lobzhenidze with the ball into the penalty area. It's clear round about the penalty spot by Hendry. Only as far as Kakabadze on this near side. Now back with Lobzhenidze. And he plays it back to Kirkelia, just to the right of the centre circle. He drops it to Kitishvili. Kasia, first time low ball from the Georgia captain out to the left hand side. A chance here for them. It's picked up there by the Georgians in the midfield, up towards Mctominay. Having got it from Kitishvili into the left flank. Kasia fires it out to that left-hand side. The cross ball doesn't come. It's passed back the way to the edge of the area, and that's an effort which is whizzed just over the bar. Kitishvili was rising all the time. And Angus Gunn happy to see that go over, and it stays Scotland 2, Georgia 0.
He got it really sweetly, and actually it dips quite viciously the last kind of 2 or 3 feet before it goes over the bar, but I think Angus Gunn had it covered.
Louis Sagnol, the Georgia manager, looking on from his technical area, approaching the hour mark. And he had designs on winning here and going to within 2 points of Scotland. Right now, no matter how often you rub your eyes looking at the Group A table, it is scarcely believable to see. And what a sight it is. It's back here with the Georgian keeper Mamardashvili. Chips it up towards the halfway line. Robertson gets onto it, fires it forward, then it comes off Lobzhenidze and out for a throw-in on this near side to the Scots, about level with the edge of the centre circle, right in front of Steve Clark. He's at the edge of his technical area as usual. He's prowling around there. His team are on the brink of a historic 4th successive win at the start of a qualifying group campaign. It's played into Georgian feet down on this near side, and it's dinked forward by Kakabadze up towards halfway. Gilmour gets something onto it. Lobzhenidze passes it straight to Gilmour on the turn, under pressure, fouled. Free kick on the halfway line on this near side. Scotland 2, Georgia 0. We're beyond the hour mark at Hampden.
Yeah, again.
Sort of.
Yeah, again, you know, showing great grit and determination. We know the qualities that he's got in terms of the skill, the vision, the passing ability, but you know, he can mix it as well for a little lad, can't he? And
he's been really tenacious tonight, really been up for it. It's been in people's faces, been winning headers, and whenever the ball's dropped in midfield, you can be guaranteed he's onto it in a flash, closing people down. He's been absolutely brilliant tonight.
There's Robertson for the Scots down the left-hand side, chips it towards the edge of the D, where it's met by Kirkelia, gets it cleared up towards the halfway line, and then Zivzivadze goes down. Free kick. It's just inside the centre circle. Kvaratselia's over it already. He takes it quickly, works the 1-2, gets it back, and plays it short to Mctominay. Out to the right-hand side for Kakabadze. Infield for Gagnidze. To Kakabadze again on this near side, and back into his own half for Kirkelia. Scotland with the 2-goal lead. The insurance policy, Mctominay adding to the McGregor goal. And now Mctominay gets the first time ball from McGinn. Dykes is ahead of him, he can find him, it just comes off the defender, and that aids the goalkeeper. And Mamardashvili is able to get down and smother it at the feet of Lyndon Dykes, and it stays on 62. Scotland 2, Georgia 0.
Now that was the right decision to play the pass in there for Dykes. It wasn't too far away from, you know, executing the pass perfectly. Maybe hit it a little bit too hard. The deflection obviously taking it away from Dykes too. But again, Mctominay, you know, so positive, wanting to get forward down that right-hand side, showing the vision as well, and almost the perfect pass forward.
Kasia for Georgia up to the halfway line. And finds Kitishvili. Comes back to Kasia. Infield for Gagnidze around about the halfway line. Back to Kasia. He plays it to this right-hand side of the centre circle. The ball is drifted out to the left by Kvaratskhelia. Chance now, potentially, for Kvaratskhelia to get onto it down that far side, up against Porteous. Wonderful skill, drags it away from Porteous into the penalty area. He goes, Kvaratskhelia, and then won back by Gilmore. Was he fouled inside his own box? The referee, I don't think, believes that that was the case. Kvaratskhelia was a menace down that left-hand side there. 63 played. It's wonderful skill by the Napoli man.
It really was. The turn on Porteous was fabulous. He just overran his next touch, and I did feel as though there was a wee clip of the heels on Billy Gilmore in the box. Get a wee rerun of it, but yeah, fabulous skill. Really tied Porteous in knots, but as he drove into the box, just took one touch too many.
There's a foul by Lobjanidze, and that's his final act of the game. He's being replaced by the Bordeaux striker Zuriko Davitashvili. He can play as the number 10. He can play on the wing as well. That's probably where he's going to go. Scored the winner against Cyprus at the weekend late on. He's now on to join the other man who's been on the score sheet for Georgia in this group, Nikotadze. Scored in both their opener against Norway in Batumi and in Larnaca on Saturday. Hendry squares it to Tierney. Remember earlier, Norway with a 3-1 home win over Cyprus. As Tierney's long ball aimed for Dykes. Dykes chases the defender Kasia, puts it back to his keeper Mamardashvili. Back to Kasia under pressure from Dykes. Up the line it goes.
No chance.
It's a free kick against Mctominay.
That's a dive, been bought by the linesman and the referee.
Zivzivadze was the Georgian player. He went down. And now a long ball comes all the way through Kangaskhan. He'll be delighted with that. We're approaching 65 minutes. Craig Levein, former Scotland manager, how would you be feeling down there? 2-0 up here against the Georgians. You've got to be comfortable, you've got to be happy.
I don't think you'd ever be comfortable standing at the touchline as a manager.
But what about up here?
If there is a time, maybe when you stand and watching a team performing as well as this team are, I think they've been excellent in this second half. I think the defensive shape is superb, and generally it's been a great evening for Scotland up to this point.
Scotland winning it back in the midfield. It's McGregor rolling it back to Tierney. First time out to Robertson. Gilmore goes back to Tierney. Tierney then moving it out to Callum McGregor on this near side in the Georgia half. Forward to McGinn. McGinn skipping away from Kitishvili. He's back to McGinn, out to Robertson, infield to McGregor, back to Tierney, back to McGregor. McGregor just dinks it back to Tierney, and in turn goes back to Hendry there, knocking it about with some confidence. Big switch out to Aaron Hickey, and the Brentford man taking it down. And what is his 11th cap tonight? And this is Mctominay to Hendry and to Mctominay to Tierney. And these supporters trust this team, trust the manager. Robertson down the line for Callum McGregor, driving forward. Can he take on the defender? Not quite. It was actually pretty well dealt with by Kvaratskhelia. It's held off McGregor, turns and releases it, and then Robertson with a foul, says the referee. He's going to be yellow carded now for the foul down on this near side on the substitute Davitashvili.
I don't think it's a challenge he has to make, will it?
No.
Georgia free kick.
Yeah, it is a yellow card, isn't it? He's coming in from behind as well, and I think he is a little bit frustrated that he maybe just got in the wrong side, and he's dived into the tackle. I don't think he complained about it either, and you're right, he didn't have to make the challenge. There was plenty of defenders back, you know, to make sure they covered the ground behind him, but he's made that decision. He's went into the sliding tackle, and believe me, it was a sliding tackle as well, and the referee has decided that it's a yellow card now. I've got to agree with him.
Yellow for the captain. The next two matches for the Scots, both away from home to, in fact, the next three matches away from home: Cyprus, Spain, Georgia. One match in September, friendly against England, and then in October you've got Spain and France. Spain the competitive game, France in a friendly. Could well be that night they seal qualification. This is when Norway and Spain go head-to-head in Oslo. Loose ball by the Georgians, picked up by Hickey down the right, uses his head literally to knock it forward, goes down, free kick right to the centre circle, and the yellow card is going to be produced here. And that is a first yellow of the night for Georgia.
He's more than capable of doing that. You know, Hickey just getting the head down and rampaging forward. I think he needs to add a little bit more of that to his game. Goes down a little bit early there and easily, but I don't know if that was a yellow card. I wouldn't agree with that one, but I suppose...
I sometimes wonder whether he's trying to give a wee bit of balance, because he knows that Tierney and Robertson... Sorry, I'll just let it...
Yeah, here's McGinn getting it to Hickey at the right angle of the Georgia box. Little ball in. McGregor will give chase. Kashia should be able to see it behind. There was a yellow card for Kocholishvili, one of the subs. He's a Shakhtar Donetsk player. He's normally a right-sided defender. He's playing on the left, and he got caught by Aaron Hickey there.
He did. I was just saying, like, if you know that the other side of your defence is away, maybe you're thinking, if this breaks, if we get countered, I'm going to need to get back and tuck in.
There's a long ball aimed for Mikatadze. Too much on it though. He was inside the Scotland box. It drifts away from him and behind for the goal kick. 69 on the clock. Scotland 2, Georgia 0. Here on Sports Sound across the frequencies. A late old night here at Hampden. Still with over 20 minutes plus stoppages to play here as we tick towards 11 o'clock p.m. It's a Scotland goal kick to be taken by Angus Gunn, who hasn't really been unduly threatened this evening.
In his international career, he hasn't been unduly threatened so far.
That's a good point, Willie, yeah.
And just the one goal conceded, the Hallen penalty at the weekend. 2 clean sheets here in his first 2 caps in March. And he's come along at a really good time as Robertson leaves the throw-in for Tierney down on this near side, midway inside his own half. He'll be thinking about changes pretty soon, Stevie Clark, I would have thought. 20 to play. There's certainly still plenty of energy in that Scotland team just now. It's bowled forward down the left-hand side for Dykes, who flicks on, can't find McGinn. Booted clear by Kashia. And out for a throw-in on the near side to the Scots again, to be taken by Tierney.
It's easier to find that energy, Liam, when you're 2-0 up in front of this big home crowd. It really is. It's amazing how much it can drive you on.
There's one last effort before the holidays, isn't it?
That's right.
There's Porteous. Drives it forward, finds McGinn first time to Mctominay. Hickey on the overlap. McTominay using him. Hickey level the edge of the D. Hickey back to Gilmore. Gilmore looking to pass it back to Hendry's inside the centre circle in his own half. Hendry forward to Gilmore. And back to Hendry. The Scots are playing this game perfectly right now. And it comes from Hendry to Hickey. Hickey then rolls it to McGinn, right hand side of the box, first time, looking for Hickey again, and it's put behind for the corner by Gagnidze. 19 to play, Scotland 2, Georgia 0.
No, it's much better down that right hand side, isn't it? You know, in fact, the last 10-15 minutes it has basically all been down the right hand side. Do you think the left hand side is just taking a little rest? They've done enough. They've done their job for the night, and you know, they're asking the right hand side to do a little bit more.
McGinn and McGregor are conspiring on the far side. McGinn takes it short to McGregor, back to Gilmore, into McGinn again, level with the 18-yard line. Short ball to Gilmore, takes a touch, gets the cross in, chance over the bar from Porteous. 6 yards out, huge opportunity for Ryan Porteous to open his international account. It stays Scotland 2, Georgia 0 on 72.
He should have opened his international account. The chances don't come much better than that. The ball in from Gilmore's absolutely perfect. Porteous is up virtually unchallenged, just gets a wee bit off balance as he makes connection with the ball. Anywhere down, that is in this surface, and he puts it off a foot over the bar. He'll be thinking about that tonight.
It's a big chance for him, isn't it?
Huge.
He'll be disappointed he didn't find the back of the net with that one.
It's the Georgians in possession with Kirkhalia. Long ball out to that left-hand side. Opportunity perhaps here for the visitors. Kvaratskhelia is in amongst it as well. He's on it now. He's trying to work away to get the Georgians back into this, but he runs into trouble. Scotland have enough bodies in the way. McGinn goes down. No free kicks, is the referee. Davitashvili Out to this right-hand side for Kakabadze. Back to Davitashvili. Infield it comes to Hitishvili. Right-hand side, Gagdanidze gets the cross in. Chance! Side net only! First time effort into the side net. Huge opportunity for Georgia, you would have to say. And it fell to Mctominay. It's probably out with Kvaratskhelia. He's the one Georgia would have wanted it to fall to. And he's off target. Angus Gunn got a touch onto it, but it was the goal was gaping for him. And it stays Scotland 2, Georgia 0 on 73.
He should score.
Yep.
You know, I don't think there's any doubt about it. Angus Gunn being tested on that occasion. I think he could have done a little bit better with that one. He just kind of spilled it out. It's going at a fair rate of knots as well, but the goal is open. You know, the volley is there. He hits it well enough, just puts it by the post.
I think it's the first time as well we've been not tight enough when the ball's come out into a wide area. Andy Robertson was caught in the pitch, and the Georgian player had all the time in the world to flash it across the face. And you're right, Gunn's got to get something on it, but puts it into an area that's going to cause us problems again. And it really should have been a goal back for Georgia. Thankfully it wasn't. That's side net.
It stays 2-0 to Scotland. There's another loose ball by the Georgians, and Kashia this time. Gilmore forward to McGregor. McGregor evades the challenge, passes it back to Gilmore, then out to Robertson, short ball. Back to Tierney, back to Hendry. Just outside his own box, and he pokes it forward to Billy Gilmore. Gilmore does well, works it out wide right for Hickey. Fabulous football again. Possession-based football, and a foul there on John McGinn by Gagdanidze, and he's going to be yellow carded, is he? Yep, there it comes. He's annoyed with the decision, but I don't think you can argue with that. It was a professional foul.
It could have been booked for the first one. I thought there was a wee shirt pull in there, and then just stands in front of the ball. Don't know what he was expecting other than a yellow.
15 left. 15 minutes plus stoppage time, and Scotland are knocking on the door of Euro 2024. Robertson down the left-hand touchline for Callum McGregor. He's level with the Georgia penalty spot, rolls it back to Gilmore. Gilmore dancing around on the near side, loses out though, and then played out for the throw-in by Gagdanidze. Back off Callum McGregor, and it's a Georgia throw-in. Not even at the midway point of their own half down this near side. Still no sign of a change from Steve Clarke. Gilmore puts it out for another throw-in, this time closer to the halfway line.
Yeah, they're looking full of energy though, aren't they? I mean, you're looking around the team, you're not seeing any of them.
Here they are, here come the changes now, as soon as I say that. Nisbet, Jack and Suter.
I just think that they don't look as though, you know, they need changes. Obviously the manager wants to freshen it up and maybe take one or two off and give them a well-earned rest, but I think the energy is still there. It's been there throughout the game. You know, Georgia coming into it a little bit towards the end of this game. Maybe that's why he's thinking he needs the changes.
Back with Angus Gunn at the moment though. Flip ball forward like that left-hand side by Gocholishvili. And I think Scotland are going to make the changes at the next stoppage in play, because they've taken the goal kick. Indeed, the three who are going to be coming on are making their way to the edge of the technical area. Kevin Nisbet was about to come on for the last few minutes when Scotland were 1-0 down against Norway on Saturday. It looked as though a pedestrian attacking performance was going to cost them 3 points in the Norwegian capital. And what a seismic less than 2 minutes that was. Gilmore forward to McGinn, got Hickey to his right, plays it to Dykes, takes a touch, right-footed efforts, charged down by Kirkvalia, breaks back to McGinn, then Mctominay, back to McGregor. Scotland hunting down a third, but it's been given away by McGregor on the far side. Kvaratskhelia is on his bike, driving down the left-hand side. Others are arriving in the middle to meet him. Kvaratskhelia is away from one challenge, rolls it. Mctominay back onto his left foot, and it all breaks down. And it stays Scotland 2, Georgia 0 as the home team got it away. 77.5 minutes on the clock, but again it's Kvaratskhelia who is always the most likely of the Georgian players to spark a comeback. And now the changes can be made by Steve Clarke.
Yeah, Ryan Porteous just taking one in the face there. He'll be all right, I'm sure.
but it was another chance for Scotland up at the other end. I felt as though John McGinn could have hit the shot. He opted to pass it. Lyndon Dykes took the shot on.
Right, Kieran Tierney is coming off. And Callum McGregor is coming off. And the third Scotland player to come off, you would imagine it's Dykes. It is. Kevin Nisbet will come on to win his 11th cap. Scored against the Netherlands in a pre-Euro 2020 friendly. His only international goal so far. John Souttar comes on to replace Tierney for cap number 7. An injury-ravaged season it's been indeed. He was a doubt for the squad, couldn't play or couldn't take part in the game against Norway at the weekend because of injury. And Kevin Nisbet comes on, and Ryan Jack, as I said, on as well for his 16th cap. Good subs, Willie.
Yeah, been good to have on the bench, isn't it? And Steve Clarke has, he's mentioned that on a number of occasions, that the strength is the squad rather than the starting 11. And Ryan Jack coming on, getting the opportunity. He's been thwarted by injury. As is John Souttar as well. Good to see both of them getting the chance.
Oh, Souttar almost with a long ball, almost managed to find Nisbet, who of course has just left Hibs to sign for Millwall. And then a misunderstanding at the back, and Mamardashvili, the goalkeeper, puts it out for a Scotland throw-in on the far side with 11 minutes to play. Scotland 2, Georgia 0. Under the lights now here at Hampden Park as darkness falls on Glasgow's south side. A long old night. Less than an hour to midnight as Henry goes back into his own half for Souttar. The Rangers defender forward to Gilmore, now to Robertson. And Souttar goes back to Porteous. He's okay after that previous head knock. Out to Hickey. Hickey's done brilliantly. Really good header. Cushion into the path of Mctominay, who's driving down that far side. And he just loses out. It's a really good challenge actually by Kashia on the slide. And George able to come away with it over on the left as it's shifted infield to Gagnidze. Short ball to Krikelia, and out to this near side for Kakabadze. Up the line it goes. And good play actually by Davikashvili, but he's on his way towards his own goal there. And then away from a couple of challenges. Gagnidze plays it forward into the Scotland half. Mkhitaryan has it. It's away from a couple of challenges. Gilmore and Jack do enough to get it back momentarily, but Gagnidze keeps it alive. Mkhitaryan with a little chip ball into the penalty area. Gunn comes and gets there brilliantly. Superb from the goalkeeper. Well, that looked as though it was going to fall for Georgia. And Angus Gunn got down low to make the block, and it stays 2-0 to the Scots.
Brave, Willie.
Very brave. Right at the foot of the striker rushing in on him in these conditions as well. I think some goalkeepers would have thought twice about going down for that one, but really sharp off his line too, reading the situation, getting himself out and blocking the chance.
Zivadze thought he was in. Georgia give it away at the edge of the Scotland box. Souttar and Jack was in on the challenge with Gagnidze. It was a brave challenge actually from the two of them. The ball is loose and eventually picked up on this near side by Kakabadze. 81 played. There's an injury to one of the Georgian players.
I think it was from the Jack challenge.
That was a tough looking challenge, wasn't it?
It certainly was. They both went firing into it.
Gagnidze's down.
The first view it looked as though Jack might have been a touch high, but the referee didn't see anything in it. Not had a wee rerun of it yet.
So 2-0 to Scotland. Leanne Crichton is here. Maybe get Leanne's thoughts now into the final 8 minutes. We go here with the Scots cruising, it seems, Leanne.
They are, yeah. Been a brilliant second half performance. Really controlled performance. Used the ball really well at certain moments. Just knocked the wind at the sails of Georgia. Any sort of incentive, they've really kept that at bay. But there's still a fair bit of time left, as we know. On Saturday, Scotland looked out of things, and what you don't want is to hand Georgia just any sort of chance or opportunity to get back in the game, and you certainly would start to feel nerves. But it's been a brilliant all-round performance from Scotland, really individually. When you think about the mental capacity as well that this night is taken up and eaten up, the players have certainly stood up to the challenge of it all. I've been really impressed by them.
It's going to be a chance here for Hampden to acclaim Kenny McLean shortly. after his winner in Norway. He's going to be coming on shortly, but here come the Georgians again. Mctominay is up to the edge of the penalty area, showed too much of it to Gilmour, and Scotland win it back again. Ryan Jack popping it out to McGinn on this near side. McGinn goes long, but he's off target with the pass, and comes all the way through to the goalkeeper Mamardashvili, and he bowls it short to Kirkvalia. Almost on 83. It'll be a nice moment for Kenny McLean, this chance for the Scotland supporters to show their appreciation for his heroics on Saturday. Long ball by Gunn up towards Nisbet. Nisbet tries to force it into the path of Mctominay. He's done really well. Mctominay, Nisbet running ahead of him. Mctominay tried to pass it to Jack, but he gives it away. Now Kvaratskhelia is in possession inside the centre circle. His pass forward blocked by Gilmour. Kvaratskhelia has it back. Cushion pass to Kashia into that left-hand touchline. And it's Ochilevzili into the midfield. Long ball forward to the edge of the Scotland box, won by Robertson. His header finds McGinn on this near side. John McGinn stepping in field. Little ball for Gilmour. Gilmour chipping it forward, but it's only onto the chest of Kirkvalia. And it's picked up by Kakabadze on this near side. Little ball in field for Gagnidze into the centre circle, where it's flashed out to the left by Kitishvili. And Georgia are coming forward. They're looking for a route back into this. Still 6 minutes of the 90 to play. Still McLean waits to come on. Short little ball for Kitishvili. Gets it back immediately from Davitashvili. Out to this near side. Good play here by the Georgians. Kakabadze along to the edge of the D. Chance here perhaps for Kitishvili if he can find space to shoot. Still he has it. Barging his way into the box. Turns and plays it back the way. Out to the left-hand side it comes. An effort which just clips the roof of the net on its way over. Angus Gunn again relieved to see that go over the crossbar. Zivadze got the effort in on goal there. And Scotland will make the change. They're going to bring off Billy Gilmour. And Hampden can stand as one for Kenny McLean, who will come on, Stephen, to try and just shore things up in these closing few minutes. But more importantly, I suppose, clever move by Steve Clarke. Get Kenny McLean on for his 31st cap just a few days after Oslo.
Yeah, absolutely, and the man he's replacing, Billy Gilmour, can be very pleased with his evening's work. I think the wee man's been absolutely superb, and you're right, Kenny deserves yet another cap here this evening after his heroics in Oslo. He probably wanted longer than the 5 minutes he's getting, but it's another cap for him.
He finished on his weaker foot, of course, Leo Laval, and that has made this, if you excuse the long suspension because of the rain tonight, it's made it a much more comfortable atmosphere. I mean, Willie, this has been a relaxing watch.
It has, yeah. I mean, I think you can be relaxed when your team's playing so well, and you have outstanding performers, out there on the pitch. I don't think there has been a weakness. The left side in the first half, right side in the second half. Mctominay can't stop scoring goals either. Callum McGregor getting 1-2, and chances as well. McTominay having the one that was well saved, and the McGinn chance, it just gets stuck in the water a little bit. So it's been a very, very pleasing performance, but there's been many of them in recent times. So the players should be well pleased, and they can go into their break in a really positive frame of mind at the top of that section.
Been scoring their goals in this campaign at the best possible times as well. I mean, obviously most spectacularly on Saturday, but I mean, scoring early in qualifiers here. This is their third home game, just the one more home game to go actually in this section, and that is against the Norwegians on the final day. You would hope, given the position they're in right now, that will be a match where it doesn't matter the outcome in.
I don't think it will matter at that stage, Liam. I mean, this puts us in such an incredibly commanding position with Cyprus up next. I firmly believe if we can get a result in Cyprus, then we'll be in Germany.
Angus Gunn with the free kick for the Scots. Out the right hand side it goes from the right foot. Diving header out for a Scotland throw-in. Is there even more joy in this oh so profitable double header at the end of the season? McTominay bowls it into the box. Kashia gets there ahead of McGinn to clear. Porteous is underneath it, heads it forward, and Hickey couldn't quite keep it in play. And that's going to be a throw-in for Georgia over on that far side. 2-0 to the Scots then. We're approaching 88 minutes. Loose ball, Nisbet gets something onto it, works it well with Jack. Jack back to Nisbet, back to Jack, out to Hickey on the right-hand side. Hickey then lifts it back in towards the centre circle for Suter. It's not an easy one, but it bounced. Suter's header finds McLean. Now it's with Robertson, who finds McGinn. Low ball infield to Robertson again, then back into his own half for Suter. He and Robertson exchange passes, and Suter goes back to Hendry. Just passing this about, killing all the time that's left. And here's McLean out to Robertson. Scotland were behind against the Norwegians, not too far off the time we're at just now, maybe just a little bit earlier. The equaliser went in. As McLean turns and passes it forward to McGinn. Robertson to his left. Ryan Christie's coming on in a moment. Here's McGinn rolling it out wide left for Andy Robertson. Robertson level with the penalty spot. Left-hand side of the Georgia box. Back to McLean. Infield to Jack. To McLean again. Side foot ball out to the left-hand side for Robertson. Robertson infield for Nisbet. And slide challenge though by Krikvelia. Wins it back for Georgia. And Zivzivadze picks it up. Turns it back the way to Kashia. He rolls it out to the left-hand side. And it's picked up by Gotchilishvili. Into the centre circle for Kitishvili. Christie stands hands and hips waiting to come on down below us. Hendry wins it back for Scotland over on the far side. It's going to stay in play. And it's Georgia in possession. Switch to the right of the centre circle for Kirkvalia. Long ball out to that far side. Kvaratskhelia in possession. Just at the left angle of the penalty area. He's off target with his pass. Scotland winning it back, but it's going to be a free kick given away by Kenny McLean, right in front of the Hungarian referee. And it's a Georgia free kick. 4 minutes have been added on, as they were at the end of the first half. At the end of the second, it's Scotland 2, Georgia 0.
Yeah, and they'll be hoping to keep it at 0, won't they? You know, I think a proud record, of shutouts now. Scotland, and this would be one to add on to that list. So I think it's about concentration. I think they'd lost the concentration for maybe about 10-15 minutes there, but they've got it back again. They're playing the high line. A little bit unfortunate with that challenge there, but they wouldn't want to see this end up in the back of the net.
Kvaratskhelia stands over it. 25 yards, maybe just slightly further back than that, slightly left to centre. It's actually perfect for him. He eyes up Angus Gunn's goal. Second half injury time. That's a disguised chip ball into the penalty area. Zivzivadze trying to back heel it. He does, but Hendry's there and he gets it clear. And now I can't think for the life of me why Kvaratskhelia has not had a go at goal there.
Yeah, they've obviously tried to come up with something cheeky. It looks like Aaron Hickey's got a spot of bother down on the touchline.
Oh yeah, I mean there's suggestion here that Aaron Hickey's used an arm here.
Yeah, I thought it hit his arm, in all honesty. I was trying to keep it quiet though.
The VAR will clearly be watching replays of that as this substitution is made. John McGinn's going to come off and Ryan Christie is going to come on. This is his 39th cap for Ryan Christie, and John McGinn, another fine performance. And they are officially doing a penalty check here for a possible handball against Aaron Hickey. So Georgia might have a penalty here. You would think, even if they convert it, that there's not going to be enough time left yet. It's coming over to look at it. So Georgia are going to have a chance here to pull one back. Will there be enough time for them to, if they score it, find a second goal? This is just getting in the way of things. But the guys to my left and to my right both seem to think that this is a penalty.
Yeah, I saw it, and I think his arm's outstretched when it hits him. Yeah, that looks a pen to me.
Yeah, just watching replays of it here in the VAR. Yeah, I think he's going to give that one. And Georgia will have an opportunity to reduce the arrears, but it's coming so late in the day. You can't imagine, even if they score it, that they will be able to
I'm sure the Norwegian commentator in Oslo was saying something similar, Liam, when we scored.
I know, just thinking that.
So just don't bother saying it.
He's not scored it yet. He's not scored it yet.
Yeah, okay.
But Ivica Kvaratskhelia has already got the ball in his hand. Here he goes. Referee comes back on. Penalty or not? Penalty. Georgia penalty. Second half stoppage time. 3 of 4 minutes have been played. You can add another minute at least on top of that. Hickey shakes his head, and it's a Georgia spot kick, and a chance to potentially bring the ashes of this match back to life. And Kvaratskhelia waits to take. I mean, if Angus Gunn saves this, what a start to his Scotland career it's been. Kvaratskhelia of Napoli won the Scudetto this season with his club. And they have nicknamed Kvaradona after one of the greatest of all time. The 22-year-old stands staring at the ball. Angus Gunn being told by the Hungarian referee not to move until the ball is struck. Kvaratskhelia for Georgia then against Gunn. Here he goes, right-footed, over the bar! And as if this group couldn't have started any better, Ivica Kvaratskhelia skies his penalty. And sometimes, just sometimes, you know, you've got a special team in front of you. And special teams need luck sometimes as well. Kvaratskhelia compounds Georgia's night by putting the penalty high over the bar, and it stays Scotland 2, Georgia 0.
That's a wee shame. He's tried to go for the top bin and he's got it all wrong.
That is a shame, isn't it? But absolutely right, you know, because Angus Gunn isn't getting anywhere near it. He goes the right way, but he goes low. And if it's a little bit lower, then it ends up the back of the net. But to be perfectly honest, it was well over the bar.
Added time and added time. Scotland have it over on the right-hand side with Ryan Jack as they try and run the clock down now. There can't be much more time left. A couple of players slipping out there. Magnificent! Magnificent Scotland! They've won this one 2-0. The long and winding road it was to 3 points this evening. After that lengthy stoppage when the game was suspended, after Callum McGregor's third international goal gave Scotland the lead on 6 minutes. With a long old wait, we didn't even know if we'd get to this point tonight. But we have done, and Scott McTominay, with an early second half goal, made sure that this was about as routine as it gets in international football. And when Steve Clarke saw the draw, and he said this more than once, that it's the toughest section in this European Championship qualifying campaign. When he looked at the fixtures that lay ahead, what was he thinking come June after the 4 matches at the halfway point? 6 points, 7 maybe. Well, they've banked 12. And they are so close now to Euro 2024. They can just about smell it with the minnows. Cyprus up next in Larnaca in September. And Scotland could well confirm qualification for Euro 2024 with 3 matches remaining in this group. 3 of the toughest matches in this group. And they might already be there. 12 points they're on. And for the first time ever, Scotland win their opening 4 qualifiers, and they sit miles ahead in Group A. 12 points, Scotland 2, Georgia 0.
Scotland in